All right. Welcome, everybody, to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is your friend, Mr. BDA. I'm glad that everybody could be on board for this one. The 5th of May, 2019. Boy, oh boy, is time going by fast, huh? Before we get down to the boxing, let's get down to the business, or get the business aside, rather. Don't forget to check us out on Spreakers and iTunes, where you can download the episodes. And don't forget to check out Twitter, BDA Boxing on Twitter. That's where Bucho operates his twisted mind. And you can see the fruits that he has bore in that website, in that platform. So don't forget to check those things out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that other good stuff. All right, so we had a sensational, that's right, I said sensational fight last night. Wasn't quite fight of the year. Shout out to Si Young Chan, who just subscribed. I'm flying solo at the moment. I don't know where Bucho is, but what I will do is I will send the invites earlier, because we don't want to spend too much time here. So if everybody can get ready, so I can send you the invites, because I don't want people to come in little by little, and then by the time we get to talk about something else, somebody else comes in and goes, "Well, let me give you my take on Canelo Jacobs." We'll try to get it done all at the same time. Shout out to everybody in the chat room at the moment. We have Fight Scout, Shepherd of Sons, Bay Area, California, Jason Bourne. What's it? Box Elmex 100. Johnny, Texas Diablo, Double A Canelo, Thomas Moreland, Triple JJ, Jose Lopez, Virtuoso, Magic Man, René de Leon, and many more to call. Pete, shout out to Pete, Gonzalo, Tommy Temper, Mateus Lise. Full house today. All right, so who was it in the chat room? Somebody just said, I looked it up, but I can't find it now, but somebody said that if you saw Daniel Jacobs' son's eyes, you could tell he was disappointing his father. It would surprise me if after the fight he called his own father a bitch-ass N-word. Would not surprise me. Let me tell you something right now. Johnny Boy says, throw me a link whenever you're ready. Like I said, everybody get ready. All the panelists, get ready. I don't want people trickling in little by little. I want everybody at the same time so we can get down to business as soon as possible. So in the meantime, I guess if you didn't watch the fights, I'm about to spoil them for you. So if you didn't see the fights, I don't know what the hell you were doing. But main event, Saul Canelo Alvarez improved to 52-1 with 35 knockouts, and he won a stellar fight. He put on a stellar performance, and he won by scorecards of 116, 112, and 115, 113 twice. He had a 188 to 131 edge in total punch stats. And Jacobs put on a good fight. But despite the height advantage, despite the weight advantage, he just could not pull ahead in the fight. Canelo was always one step ahead of him. And Jacobs tried, to his credit, he tried to let his hands go. He tried by the 8th round to push forward a little bit more. He went to the body, which is smart. But Canelo is just one of the best guys at defending to the body. This guy, even when Golovkin, who's a guy who wrecks people to the body, he couldn't get to Canelo's body. So, Canelo's improving with every fight. And the weak points, the two weak points with Canelo were that he couldn't fight going forward and that his stamina stunk. Well, now he's been able to fix those things. I don't know if he fixed those things legally when it comes to the stamina. Be that as it may, he has certainly improved as a fighter. What are people saying in the chat room? The Fight Scout says Jacob slaps hard. René de Leon says Canelo is not pound for pound. Oh, well, come on. How can he not be pound for pound? It's interesting. It seems very few people can actually keep this thing down the middle. Either Canelo sucks or he's the best ever. It's like, come on, can we find a common ground here? J Boxy Chizan says it was extremely tactical affair at times, but Canelo was pounding to the body the whole time, which is what a lot of us expected, that he was going to go to the body, the bigger guy's body, the taller man's body. Nicola Ferrari says Triple G stopped going to the body well before Canelo. True, that's a good point. I don't know if it's because he got slower or because the competition got better, but when he was fighting guys like Gil, Macklin, what's his name, the other guy, Curtis Stevens, he was going to the body quite a bit. Now, not so much. Shepherd says Canelo still can't cut the ring off. Well, I mean, it's not really his game, but you have to give him credit. He has improved in that aspect. Tommy Temper says Canelo passing the PED test now. Virtuoso says the added weight for Jacobs meant nothing, therefore the hydration clause wasn't necessary. You know what? That's a good point now that you mention it. Canelo's got guts. Because remember when he wanted to fight Cotto, and then Cotto lost to Trout, and then Golden Boy were like, no, you're still going to fight Cotto. And Canelo was like, fuck that. I want to fight the guy who just won, the guy who just beat Cotto. That's from the rumors, right? And he fought Trout. Then he fought Mayweather at 23 years old? Fought the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Or number 2 at worst. He fought Lara when they didn't want him to fight. The only one you can really give him slack for the most part is that he made Golovkin wait. But other than that, the guy's got huevos. So I don't know if he decided the weight rehydration clause or if it was Golden Boy. But what I'm saying is you get a good point there, Virtuoso. At the end of the day, he beat him. He beat a guy that weighed 170 something on fight night. So you gotta, maybe Canelo now might, or his team will have a little bit more confidence in him and not put in these weird stipulations to try to get an advantage. Because Canelo, I mean, look at him. Fantastic head movement, body punching, counter punching, power, and a chin. I want to talk about that more with the people when they come here with the panelists. But that chin, he took some hard slaps from Jacobs and he couldn't, stun him. Jose Lopez says Canelo is a diva. Double A says, then who is pound for pound? Who indeed? I still have Lomachenko's number 1. But if Canelo wipes out the middleweight division, or if Usyk goes up to heavyweight and starts beating some top 10 heavyweights, you never know. Box says, I bet Ass is a Mexican. Oh, I think he's talking about Double A. Nicola Ferrari says Canelo brings money and is protected, so of course he gets the big fights. Well, he's choosing the best fight. You know what? He could be taking on bums. He could be, well, not bums. I don't want to use the word bum. I'm sorry, but he could be fighting Kobarov. He could be fighting Woody. What's his name? Willie Harrison or whatever the fuck his name is. I mean, he's fighting top 10 guys. You gotta give him credit. Manny Rodriguez says Errol Spence outboxes a fighter smaller, lighter than him and couldn't knock him out. And he's the best crazy performance. Canelo outboxes a guy bigger, heavier than him. Couldn't get the knockout. He sucks. Is that what people are saying, that he sucks? That's the thing, because I didn't have a lot of time I woke up early today, but not for boxing. But I'm again, you guys know I love to go to unboxing scene for about 5 minutes. I can't stay there more than that. And I'm reading here people after the fight, and some people are saying, like, I know there's one comment here on page 101. I saw it earlier, and the guy says, ridiculous scorecards. I had it 114, like a lot of sets scored. Like I said, a lot already scored. Jesus, what's the fucking spelling? Like a lot of sets scored were already tallied 3 months ago, canceling the zone. Are you fucking serious? 114? Did you hold on, let me get to the fucking chat room. Guys, is this guy insane or is it just me? 114 to make a big deal that Canelo. I was rewatching a little bit of the fight today. I don't see the controversy. There's no controversy, at least coming from this guy. What's the controversy? Canelo was in control of the fight. He could never get fully comfortable because Jacobs is a good fighter. And I think he did get Canelo's attention a little bit, especially in that 8th, 9th round, I think, when he cut him with a... All right. Shout out to Herb Magtisa, who just subscribed. So I don't understand what's going on here. I mean, Jacobs put on a good fight. Canelo was always one step ahead. He won the fight fair and square. And like Virtuoso said, despite the whole weight issue, malarkey, So good for him. Now, whether Canelo's pound for pound number one, I don't know. That's up to you guys. That's, it's an objective, it's subjective rather. It's a subjective subject. So there you go. What else? People, René de Leon says Canelo won. No, you don't say. Thank you for telling us. I didn't know that. Toniato James says that shot in the ninth looked good, but Canelo rode it a little bit. He did ride with it a little bit, but he still took another left hook when he was on the ropes, either before or after that, and he took it pretty well. What the other thing was, Steven Schneider says I was drunk, but I scored it 114. Well, you need to watch it sober again, Steven, because I didn't see that. I didn't see a 114 scorecard. For all our talk, by the way, of the judges having it already in the bag for Canelo, blah, 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 the scorecards were actually pretty fair. You would have thought that if they had it in the bag for Canelo, they would have scored 117, 111, or 118, 110, but the judges were pretty fair. So this was a nice, clean night of boxing. Good fight. Both men conducted themselves the way BDA likes to watch them. I like to watch these guys conduct themselves in the Christian way. Respect, shake each other's hands, and maybe invite each other to their own homes to break bread with some salt and then sing some psalms. I'm in that mood right now because it's Sunday, and I'm also reading a couple of the comments from Ring TV, the forum, and people are saying, I had Canelo winning 8-4. Same for me, says somebody else. A guy says, yeah, me too. A good solid win for Saul. No underhanded judges from Vegas needed in this one. Canelo won and got the nod. It was a tactical battle on par with Triple G versus Jacobs, but below either the Triple G versus Alvarez fight. Canelo displays his customary mid-fight fade. He did fade a little bit, huh? And then he says, and he let Jacobs enter the fight, boxing him up for the first 6 rounds. Jacobs just wasn't busy enough to win every one of the last 6 to even the scorecards. Triple G is still the best middleweight in the world, in my opinion, and Canelo still has business with him. Maybe. We'll get to that. We'll get to Golovkin in a second. But Canelo did, what's his name? Jacobs did start coming on strong a little bit later on in the fight. But he was trying to let his hands go. I mean, his corner were telling him, let him go. But it's hard to let your hands go when a guy is moving so well, like Canelo does, that beautiful head movement, and he's countering you off of that beautiful head movement. So that's about it. Beautiful head movement for Canelo. Great. See, that's what you got to do to be a great pound-for-pound fighter. Great chin, counter-punching, aggressiveness, let your hands go, offense. Because imagine if Canelo was just one of those guys that moves his head or his feet and doesn't punch. How boring would that be? Nah, he's dodging shots to get in position to hurt the other guy. Jacobs too, in a way. Very similar fighters in terms of their approach to the fight. But like I said, Jacobs just didn't have enough. He just couldn't figure Canelo's defense out. And you gotta give it to Canelo, shorter guy, and he still was able to outbox Jacobs from the outside and then in the mid-range. And then even in the inside. Actually, I think Jacobs held his own on the inside. That's where he did better. But you can't really fucking go all out against Canelo on the inside because he's going to catch you with something big. And I think he did. He did get caught with something big, and therefore that's why he respected Canelo. Now, the question becomes, and I'm going to show you the ratings here. The middleweight division is starting to get a little thin, if you ask me. Hazan and Dam, been there, done that, right, guys? Suleki, good fighter, even though now there's a bit of an asterisk next to his name because of his dodgy performance against Rosado. He struggled a little bit against Rosado. You would have expected Sulinsky to do better. Lemieux is moving up to 168, and he's got a busted hand, so who knows what's going to happen with him, if he's even going to fight. Derevchenko barely made it past Kolke, who's a tough fighter. Charlo, you know what I think about him. I think he lost the Cobra fight, but he's still dangerous. Andrade, he also struggled against Kolke, but again, that's because he's a strong fighter. He struggled against Martiriosian, but other than that, he's looked pretty good. He's got fast hands. He's looking like Be Real now. You notice that? All he needs is that fisherman's hat or whatever the fuck you call it, and he'll look like Be Real from 1992. Rob Brandt doesn't really have good punching power, but he has stamina, activity. But I don't think he has the punching power or the speed, those two requirements to really push Canelo. I don't think he has it. Billy Joe Saunders, based on the fact that he's a pure boxer, he could have given Canelo a hard fight, but he's moving up to 168. I mean, unless Canelo moves up to 168 himself, this fight, I just don't think it's going to happen. Jacobs just got taken out. Golovkin already lost to Canelo, even though a lot of us believe he won the second fight. But then again, do we really want to see the third fight? That's up to you guys. You tell me. Box says the Gypsies would eat Canelo. Luke Peterson says Glasgow swimming bats. Luke Peterson says he fights Billy Joe Saunders at 168. Yeah, maybe that's if they ever do fight, it's probably gonna be in that division. The 168 pound Virtuoso says the 160-pound division is fine. It's the 168-pound division that looks weak. Well, there's a lot of options for Canelo. He could take on the winner of Andrade Sulensky. By the way, those two guys are gonna fight. And right now, I'd pick Sulensky by decision, but I think the judges might give it to Andrade because he's a little bit more entertaining with his hand speed. Jacobs is to go back to the drawing board. Charlo and Canelo, that's not going to happen because of the division, promotional divisions that are involved. Unless the zone offers Charlo a shitload of money and Charlo just says, bye, Al, see ya. I'm getting a Canelo payday. And maybe Canelo can move up to 168 and take on Saunders or take on Callum Smith. You never know. Luke Peterson asks, how did Gonzalo survive that karate chop? I don't know. That's a good question. BFTB Boxing says, I gotta admit, Canelo is the best and I'm the greatest midget of all time. You know what? Midgets, if you're a midget, get yourself some steroids, man. Because at least you'll be a short guy, but you'll be, wide shoulders, deep chest. Get yourself some steroids. Derek Chisora says, BDA Boxing, what do you think of Canelo calling out Kovalev? You know what? It's interesting. We were talking about Canelo's options. I don't know about the Kovalev thing, but supposedly there's a rumor going on that they're going to offer Errol Spence a lot of money to move up to 160 and take on Canelo. I mean, look, at this point, Canelo has beaten Golovkin. He's beaten Daniel Jacobs, the top three, whatever the hell you want to call them, middleweights in the world. Took their best. These guys are hard punchers, Golovkin and Jacobs, and he took their best punches and kept coming forward. So the people that were saying that Errol Spence could move up to 160 and not only beat Canelo but knock him out, hope you guys see that you jumped the gun a little bit. And I'm not gonna blame you. We all jump the gun every once in a while, but really do try to analyze the fights, and please don't judge or pick fights based on a guy's skin color. Oh, he looks like me. I'm going to pick him. Shut up. So that's what I'm saying. And Errol Spence moving up to 160? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think 160 is going to be possible for Errol Spence at this time. So that's what I'm saying. All right. I'm getting some messages here. Hold on a second. So yeah, man. So Canelo, great head movement, body punching. A lot of people were expecting him to walk Jacobs down. Didn't quite work out because Jacobs, you got to give him credit. He's got good defense too, which allowed him to survive this fight, go 12 rounds. I actually do think he caught, even though Canelo blocked a lot of his body punches, I still think Jacobs got his attention with him. Just the fact maybe he felt him on the elbows and he said, shit, I really got to watch myself against Jacobs. Strong puncher. Good jab. Yeah, Jacobs did everything he had to. He tried to jab, tried to keep the long range distance in play, tried to use his height advantage. But man, if you know how to judge the distance and you got incredible defense with counter punching like Canelo has, he can dismiss and nullify those physical advantages from the other guy. All right, guys, I don't know if you heard me, but I'm going to send the invites when everybody's ready. So please stop asking me to send the invite. Once I get confirmation from everybody, then we're going to get you on board. Box says Mexicans pick Canelo even though he looks Irish. Magic Man says Kovalev would outbox Canelo if not knock him out with a long jab and his straight right hand. Canelo can fight Billy Joe Saunders. Back the fuck boxing said, and I'll fight Willow. Tommy Temper says, Johnny, that's not who you think it is. Errol Spence is becoming like Spence X. Triple J says, Johnny boy, he came in here yesterday and I was like, nah, no way that clown will go anywhere near his 2000 wrench crew. I don't know who they're talking about. Joey Oceans, shout out to Joey Oceans, says Jacobs bottled it. Vader D says all Jacobs did was push air onto Canelo, hoping to cool him down. The Fight Scout says Jojo Diaz fought as a homosexual clan boy on steroids. Whoa, where's that coming from? I didn't see that fight, by the way. I did catch the end of the Ortiz fight where he knocked out Herrera. Ooh, that was a scary knockout. René de Leon says, where will Canelo go after the zone deal is over? Well, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We still got a long way to go. And by the way, it reminds me of this. I don't think the zone is throwing out this huge quantities of money for contracts. I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, I appreciate their ambition, but it just reminds me of when HBO was offering these long range contracts to guys like Roy Jones and Floyd Mayweather in the 90s and De La Hoya and Vernon Forrest. And then, like, a guy like Jones would just fight a bunch of nobodies, and there was nothing HBO could do. I don't know. I guess in the contract they didn't specify, like, hey, hold on a second. If you start fighting a bunch of pizza delivery guys, we're gonna cut you off or something. No, they let him do whatever the hell he wanted. And remember Forrest, after he beat Mosley the second time, boom, they signed him to a huge contract. And then what happens? He loses to Mayorga twice. He tears his shoulder, and we didn't see Forrest for about 2 or 3 years. So I don't know if this multi-fight contract are necessarily good. I guess we'll see in the long run. By the way, the zone, a lot of people were expecting, and actually some people were hoping that the zone was going to crash. It didn't crash for me. I don't know about you guys, but smooth sailing. It was smooth sailing watching that stream. Very good quality. Magic Man says, how many subs does the zone need to cover the $45 million purchase of the main event? They can't be making a profit, can they? If they're not making a profit now, I'm pretty sure they're going to eventually. And you got to remember, the boxing is not their primary stream. These guys are fucking streaming boxing, football, baseball. What else are there? Bellator, billiards, which, believe it or not, there's a market for that. I think darts as well. I mean, it's just they're getting a lot of income from all over the place, and I would expect them to start making some money eventually. What else? There was some. I was looking at Twitter here, and some people started to get into it a little bit with the zone commentary. Some people don't like the zone commentary. Hold on a second. Apparently, Daniel Cormier, the UFC, what is he, heavyweight champ now, went after Sergio Mora, and he said, man, the fucking judge, not the judge, he says hold on a second, I'm stalling here because I'm trying to look for the actual tweet. All right, let me put it up here. Cormier tweeted, Brian Kenny and Sergio Mora really suck. Canelo won, but then he fought a good fight. Man, what the fuck? They ruined the fight. And then Mora replied by saying, sorry you thought I sucked, champ. I think your striking sucks. Let me work with you so John Bones, whatever the fuck his name is, John Bones doesn't kick your ass for a third straight time. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. In a boxing match or MMA, people were asking, you can't take people down in boxing. I think that answers the question. Plus, not even just MMA, street fight, wrestling match, kickboxing match. So people are saying who would actually win in a real fight. So that's what it comes down to. They start talking to each other, and then all of a sudden it becomes into who would win in a real fight. Why can't they just insult each other? Why does it have to turn to a real fight? But yeah, so people were, I mean, listen, I don't know. You guys tell me, what do you think about the zone commentators? I don't think they're that bad. I think they were a little bit, I think Mora was a little bit bad during the Estrada fight, the Estrada Sorong Visay fight. He couldn't stop saying Mexican style, Mexican style, Mexican style. Like he had Tourette's or something. He couldn't stop saying Mexican style. But I think they're pretty fair. I think they're pretty fair. Vader says the zone will go up in price every year or so. Luke Peterson says Luis Ortiz built the pyramids, the old bastard. Nopal says hello everybody. Double A says I'm impressed with Virgil Ortiz. Tiger Happy J says happy to be here. Says Triple G. Virtuoso says I watched the Sky Sports feed online. Junior Move says DC versus Stipe 2. Oh, he's gonna fight Stipe again. Luke Peterson says Gonzalo with his sensei in his picture practicing the avoid karate chop technique. Steven Schneider says Luis Ortiz witnessed the Big Bang. Nopal says Nopal pound for pound number 1, I think. Nopal pound for pound number 1. I know, but I think you've been drinking too much tequila, man. Take it easy. Magic Man says the commentary always seems biased towards Canelo for every fight. Buck says he might have an onset of Tourette's. Mora, the Quack says Mora gave Jacobs his due, I thought. Gonzalo says Mora couldn't stop saying how he fought Jacobs. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He couldn't stop saying, when I fought Jacobs and he turned southpaw, you really had to watch out for the right hooks. Like, all right, we know, we get it. You fought Jacobs. You want to remind us you fought Peter Manfredo too? The Latin snake. Steven Schneider says Virgil Ortiz has a great check left hook. Derek Chisora says BDA Ortiz versus Joshua, who wins? I'm picking Joshua on that one. Shepherd's Son says God made the earth for Ortiz to live in. And so on and so forth. All right. I want to have a little discussion with people here. So I'm going to start inviting people. And if everybody comes in, some people, guys, if you come in too late, because I'm sending the invites, if you come in too late, we got to keep it short because it's supposed to be the day of rest today, Sunday. So you're going to have to work with me here on this one. All right. Speaking of, while I wait, I sent invites and I'm waiting for people to come in. Let's go to the predictions. All right. Predictions. All right. I see we got two people. I guess we got Johnny Boy and Gonzalo on the line. Hey guys, thank you for being on.
What up, fellas?
Good. Doing good.
Hello.
Good to have you on board.
Me and Gonzalo had a good chat last night on the Hangouts.
Oh, you were sexting each other?
Oh God, get out of here!
I'm just asking, man. Come on. But yeah.
No,
good.
I meant about the fight and about the fight and what have you. You know.
Yeah. No, I got you. I got you. I was we're gonna read the predictions before we start. All right. McGregor Boxing had it Canelo 8-4. Can you hear me, guys? Or
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Because I heard somebody said hello. All right. So McGregor Boxing scorecard. No, I mean not scorecard. McGregor Boxing had it Canelo 8-4. Good decision. Even well, he said 8-4 and then majority decision. So I think he was saying somebody was gonna get 8-4 and there was gonna be a majority decision card in. I mean, there was gonna be a draw in there. Bucho said Canelo unanimous decision. Mr. BDA said Canelo by close fight. So I had it. I had the right guy winning, but I had the wrong outcome. Really, I mean, inside the ring. Boxing Style said Canelo by KO in the 8th. Jimmy had Canelo late round knockout in the 9th, actually. Revolucion said Canelo unanimous decision. Jacobs is gonna run. Then we had Apology had it perfect. Canelo unanimous decision. Precise also had it perfect. Canelo unanimous decision 7-5 for Canelo. Gonzalo had it Canelo 10th round TKO. Johnny Boy had it Canelo majority decision via and that there was gonna be one white scorecard. Recognize had it Canelo unanimous decision, and he said there were gonna be 2 knockdowns. And Stu had it Canelo stoppage in the 9th. So, guys, we all picked the right guy, even though not all of us got it completely correct. But I stand by my prediction. It was a good prediction. It was the best prediction to make at the time. You know, a good general every once in a while has to make a tough decision. Everybody starts second guessing you all of a sudden. The ship goes down. But let me ask you guys. Let's start with Gonzalo. Gonzalo, what did you think of the fight, man?
I thought it was entertaining. That it was a good chess match with a little bit of suspense. You had the feeling of that anything could happen. Also, a little bit of you know imminent danger there with Jacob's power and speed. Also, that something could happen. Although it didn't, there was always that element present that something could happen. That was the only downer that didn't happen, but it was a good chess match. And the thing about that I believe Jacobs did wrong. He was too wishy washy. He was switching from right to left, from left to right every round. He should have stayed more consistent with one stance. I know he had a little bit of success fighting left-handed, but he just needed to follow through with one game plan instead of being so wishy-washy, changing up every round. And also, he was sitting in the pocket admiring his work too much and shaking his head. When he was able to connect Canelo, he was admiring his work and he was shaking his head instead of following through because he's already there, and following through with his work. You
Uh-huh.
know, and as far as what Canelo did really fast, he had good waist movement. Obviously, he showed good defense, but he should have also mixed up a little bit more punching along with his excellent defense. And I heard on the Mexican channel that he sparred way too many rounds in training, 182. So he
Whoa.
looked, you know, a little shop worn during the
Well,
fight.
it's interesting you brought up the southpaw stance because you were the one that brought it up too last night, I think, and you said at which round, which point is Jacobs going to switch. I don't know about you, Gonzalo, but it did seem to me like when he switched, he was able to land a little bit better. He wasn't landing big shots, but at least he was landing clean on Canelo, whereas as an orthodox, he wasn't landing much.
Yeah. Oh, what was your score? Did you score at BDA or?
No, well, I don't keep an official scorecard, but it seemed to me like it was one of those 8-4 type affairs. 8 rounds to Canelo, four
Yeah.
to
Well,
maybe eight.
I gotta give Gonzalo props because he says he was saying all week, let's not call this a ripoff on the scorecards. Let's see how it plays out first. And he was right. I thought the scorecards were fair. Two judges had it 7-5 and one had it 8-4. I had it 7-4 and one even. It pisses me off the judges don't score fucking even rounds anymore. That drives me ape shit. But
Mm-hmm.
uh yeah, I had it 7-4 and one even. I thought the judges were pretty much on the money. My and as far as my prediction goes, I was a concert away. I said close, tough fight, majority decision, so I wasn't too far off anyway. But yeah, and I don't know what people were expecting this to be fucking Gotti Ward or Barrera Morales. I thought the last 4 or 5 rounds there were excellent. It did start off slow, but that I was expecting that. So I don't know what the hell people are expecting fucking Castillo Corrales over here, but Jesus Christ, man. So
Yeah, I think people. You know what, Jacobs. He's not the type of fighter that's gonna go all out and slug it out. He thought from the beginning he was gonna be able to outbox Canelo, and once he saw he wasn't gonna be able to outbox the shorter guy, must have been quite a shock to him actually. Then he started stepping it up by about the 7th and 8th round. In the 8th round is really when he saw him going after Canelo. But didn't his trainer tell him after the 8th because it was the 8th when he had Canelo on the ropes and he was flurrying and everything. And I think it was in the 8th. Didn't his trainer tell him, "Hey, don't do that"? Did he tell him to step back from doing that?
I'm not sure. I'd have to rewatch that.
Yeah, I
I see.
think.
I don't know because I was my girlfriend's cousin was over there and she speaks Spanish. She's a white girl, but she speaks Spanish. So I watched it in fucking Spanish too.
Uh, yeah, but it seemed to me like during the rounds that Jacob's trainer Rozier was telling him, don't do that, don't do that, don't get into his wheelhouse. And I'm thinking, well, what's he gonna do? He's not gonna land from the outside. You know, he's that overhand right, which I thought was gonna be Jacob's best punch, never really quite got going. I mean, Canelo was just even. You know what I liked about Jacobs, by the way? He didn't use the word slick. He said slippery to refer
Man,
to.
stop talking, okay, Slick.
Was that
I said stop talking, okay, Slick.
slick? Oh, you're using the word slick, yeah. But
From
the
Heat,
what?
from Heat.
Oh, that's from Heat. Okay, jeez. You know, you lost me on that one, man. That one went over my head. But
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying is at least he used the he didn't he described Canelo as slippery, and boy was he slippery. I mean, you got to give Canelo credit. It's gonna take somebody with a true understanding and good precision and what I'm saying is here feints to set up Canelo. It's not gonna be enough to just fucking go out there and throw punches. He's gonna make you miss. He's gonna make you pay. By the way, we got the official scorecard boxing on the line. Official, are you there?
Yeah, man. What's up, guys?
Hey, good to have you on board, man.
Hey, how you doing, official?
Thanks. Nice. I was just rewatching the fight.
And how did you score it? How did you have it? You okay with the decision?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, the thing is, I think that many of those rounds were really close, and it was not an all-action fight. So although Canelo won more rounds than Jacobs, he didn't won them really clearly. It was uneventful, but good boxing, good skills.
Fantastic skills, man. Really. Both guys showed defense, offense, counterpunching. It was just, I mean, no running. That's what I like. There's no
Yeah,
running. Both guys just wanted to make the other miss, make the other pay. Do you think Jacobs was a little surprised though? Do you think because coming in, it seemed to me like he was really sure of himself. This must have been quite a shock to him to be outboxed by the shorter guy.
I think he was BDA because I think he was just impressed with Canelo's upper body movement, his head movement. He did clip Canelo with that big hook in the seventh or eighth round, I believe.
Hmm.
But listen, man, you know what? Jacob still doesn't have anything to be ashamed of. I mean, he lost to the best middleweights of his generation, and he gave them both good fights, man. He ain't got nothing to be. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm. And he
he
didn't get
gave them both
stopped or
good.
anything.
Yeah, he gave Triple G and Canelo. He gave them both good work, and he lost close decisions on both. So Danny Jacobs ain't got nothing to be ashamed of either. I like I say, I tip my hat off to both guys.
The only thing I don't like about Jacob's mentality, look, for example, when he caught Canelo with one of his best exchanges in the pocket, he sat there and shook his head, and like I said, he was admiring his work instead of continuing and following through with another combination because you have already connected the guy, and you look good doing it. Why don't you put something together, to follow through with what you're doing instead of sitting there and just shaking your head,
Well,
you
he
know?
tried. He tried Gonzalo. I mean, he maybe I have to rewatch the fight, but when he was flurrying, he was throwing three, four punch combinations, especially when he had Canelo on the ropes. But Canelo was just like he said, too gosh darn slippery.
And I
Yeah,
think that
he was.
Canelo had. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. I just agreeing with BDA.
Okay, I was just wondering, did you guys see that, in my opinion, Canelo added one more weapon to his arsenal? I mean, we already know that he's improving with every fight, but it's amazing because he keeps on doing it. For example, in this fight, I saw that his jab was a lot better than
Good
it
point.
used to be,
Good point.
and for especially against Jacobs because I saw with Derevyanchenko and Golovkin against Jacobs. Every time they were jabbing with him at the same time with Jacobs because he doesn't his head stays in the same place while he's jabbing, so he hits a lot of counter jabs, and Canelo did a damn good job with his jab.
It's a good
Yeah, he
point, man.
did outjab the bigger guy.
It's always impressive when the shorter guy can out jab the taller man. And again, I think that's why Jacobs was surprised because I think maybe he thought that he was going to be able to out jab Canelo. Maybe he didn't expect it to be that it was going to be easy, but he probably did expect like, all right, I'm going to be in control of this fight. Official, you mentioned the. Hold on a second. Okay, yeah, you mentioned the
Yeah.
jab. Official, do you think that my question is I didn't want to bring it up just yet, but I'm going to do it. Who do you think beat Jacobs more convincingly, Canelo or Golovkin?
To me, honestly, Golovkin. I saw Gonzalo last night saying that he thought Canelo did a better job, but to me, honestly, let's say that out of first six rounds between Triple G and Jacobs, I give Jacobs only one round, and in the second half of their fight, he was more active, just like in this fight. But the difference was it was a lot of flashy punches that were getting blocked. Not that Canelo was not blocking Jacobs's punches, but I mean Triple G did a better job, and he used. I mean, they use Triple G. The thing with him is that he switches a lot of the range is a lot, transferring all the time from mid to long range and etc. So I think he did a lot better job. Not by too much, but clearly did a better job. I had Triple G winning something like 9-3 against Jacobs. Well, this fight I had, or rewatching it, I had it 8-4 for Canelo, but also could see it easily as well 7-5.
Yeah,
Or
I'd probably I'd probably say Golovkin did a little bit better against Jacobs, just on the fact that he dropped Jacobs. You know what I'm saying? Because I had the Golovkin Jacobs fight 8-4, plus the knockdown, and I had this fight last night 7-4 1 even. So, God, Golovkin by a little bit, but like I say, Jacobs is a good fighter. He made a good account of himself in both fights, and those were the two best fucking middleweights of the era. So he ain't got nothing to be ashamed of. But yeah, I'd say Golovkin did a slightly, just a little bit better of a job on Jacobs than Canelo did. Just a little
Yeah,
bit.
I think Canelo in my case
hmm,
because Jacobs usually lands at a 33% connect rate, and in this fight he only landed at a 20% because of Canelo's waist movement. So that made the rounds, the clear round for Canelo. You can tell those apart. From what some people would say that the fight against Golovkin against Jacobs was some of the rounds were too close to call.
hmm.
And that basically with Golovkin he was only jabbing. So in this fight, I just think Canelo, the rounds that he did win, he just made it very clear.
I'm gonna agree with you, Gonzalo. I think Canelo landed more clean power shots on Jacobs than Golovkin did in their fight. I mean, Golovkin started off well, against Jacobs. He dropped him, he landed that jab. But as the fight wore on, Jacobs actually started doing better. That's the thing about Jacobs is he gets better as the fight goes on. He's shown it against Ryachenko, against Sulensky, against Arias, against Golovkin, and against Canelo a little bit. But whereas Golovkin started to lose control a little bit of the fight when he fought Jacobs, from what I saw last night, I think Canelo always maintained a certain degree of control. He was always one step ahead of Jacobs, and even though he didn't drop Jacobs like Golovkin did, it seems to me that Canelo was more comfortable in there, willing to stay on the inside at times against Jacobs, whereas Golovkin, he was eating some huge shots in there. Remember, he got his head snapped back by an uppercut late in the fight and all that. So I'm going to give the edge to Canelo. I think he looked better against Jacobs than Triple G did against Jacobs.
I'm watching the Beterbiev fight right now. I won't say nothing because I'm sure some of you guys haven't gotten around to that yet.
Well, we'll talk about it later on, maybe if we have the time. But I also wanted to tell you guys that the body punching, we made a big deal about it, or some people in the panel, not here, not you guys specifically, but some of the predictions we had was that Canelo was gonna walk Jacobs down and beat him up to the body, and that just didn't really. I mean, he tried to, but Jacobs is just too good at defensively and too big.
Well, and that's part of the styles make fights, BDA, because Jacobs is bigger than Golovkin is. You know what I'm saying? And I think Canelo would have got caught with some shit upstairs had he gone to the body too much. So I think he played it smart, and his jab was working for him. And you know what I'm saying? He didn't need to go. He didn't need to go to the body. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Styles make fights. It's like I think we talked about it right last night about how Canelo has faster hands than Golovkin. He doesn't have as good a jab, even though it's pretty good, but he does have the faster hands. And at this point in their careers, they have better head movement. Let me just go real quick because people are having a bit of a disagreement in the chat room, which is what we want to see. Box88 says it was a slow round, but I gave him to him by just one punch. I think they're talking about the first round. G Boogie says Golovkin was older than Canelo. Come on, there's no comparison. But I think there is a comparison because I think actually Jacobs got better after the Triple G fight. I think he was at this point it was now or never against Canelo. I mean, he beat guys like the Ryachenko, Sulensky, he beat a bunch of guys, and then he went 12 rounds against Triple G, gave him his toughest fight at that point, and I think that prepared him very well mentally to fight Canelo. And I think there was a better. I don't know. What do you guys think, Gonzalo, Johnny Boy Official? What do you think? Was this a better version of Jacobs than the one that fought Triple G?
I think this one was gun shy, a little bit too much, a bit too hesitant.
Yeah.
And but you know what, BDA? he was still landing good shots. But for example, another difference between Canelo and Golovkin is that Golovkin uses a lot of fit movement for his defense. So when he moves out, if you catch him a bit, uh, and he's not built as a trunk like Canelo is. So when they're taking Jacobs' punches, it looks kind of different because Golovkin is lighter on his feet, and he may seem like getting hurt a bit more than Canelo. While Canelo, those shots of Jacobs just bounced off his chin.
Of whose chin? Sorry, of Golovkin's chin or
Of
of Canelo?
Canelo, no. While Jacobs' punches the last night, they were bouncing off Canelo's chin, and because he's just like that way, like a pit bull. He's very steady on his feet, and when you look at it from the camera view, it looks like it doesn't do like the punches were not hard, but they were.
Oh yeah, they must. Yeah, that's a thing. That it's an interesting point you bring up because I couldn't quite hear the punches. It did seems the microphones weren't picking up the crispness of the shots or something. But yeah, you're right. They didn't sound hard, but you could tell they were fucking up. Especially after you watched the Canelo Triple G rematch where they really slugged it out. That one you could hear.
Oh yeah.
You could hear the punches. But I wanted to ask Gonzalo, what do you think? Do you think which version of Jacobs was better, the one that fought Triple G or the one that fought Canelo?
Yeah, I think the version that fought Triple G, Jacobs was a little bit stronger, more of a beast. Here, I think he just had a little bit harder time only drinking water after the weigh-in, and I don't know if he ate a little food, but he came in 173.6. But he said only drinking water alone, he was having a hard time making 170, the rehydration for the following morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, when he fought Golovkin, I think he just totally disregarded the next day weight clause. He said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna drink water, eat, and so in other words, I think when he fought Golovkin, he just came in way stronger. I mean, like you said, he gained more experience, and it was now or never, and he probably gained confidence also. But I just think that with the whole him struggling to make the 160 pounds and the 170 pounds the next day weigh in and all that, and at his age, now that he's planning to move to 168, I think that just made this version of Jacobs not as strong as the one that fought Golovkin.
He drank. He was listening to George Thorogood when he drank alone, but but I just well, I'm sure you'll get around to that the Triple G Canelo 3 BDA. You want to talk about that in a little bit, or can I?
Well, no, we'll get to it. We'll get to it because I don't want to get too far away. We still got some people coming in, and now you see we've got recognize on the line. So you know what that means. Hold on a second. I'm trying to fucking stall here.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
Oh shit! Sorry about that. All right.
That was for me. Chinga tu madre.
No, that was not for you. No, never. Recognize. Thank you for being on. We're just talking. We're still on the subject. Yes. We're still on the subject of Canelo versus Jacobs. What did you think of the fight? Entertaining enough? Were you impressed with Canelo's
wake me up when it's over. It was a boring fight in a way.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I'm not going to say it was totally boring. I'm over exaggerating, but it wasn't really that entertaining.
You weren't at the edge of your seat when Jacob started pushing it in the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he made it a bit interesting, but I always knew Canelo had it.
Would you say it was at the same level of entertainment as Canelo's fight against Cotto, where he was always in control, but it was still competitive?
Something like that. Actually, that's a great analogy. Obviously, Cotto was a lot smaller than Jacobs, but it was that kind of feel where yeah, Cotto was competitive, but he was barely winning rounds when he won them. You know, when he won rounds, it was like barely winning them. I'm not
Mhm.
saying Canelo was like clearly dominating him with the rounds he won, but they look more. You know, he lands the cleaner punches. Is the one thing about Canelo. He always lands cleaner punches. He was much faster than Jacobs. You see
Mhm.
how? I mean, I don't know. For me, he just looked a lot more faster than he did.
He looked way sharper, recognized. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought he look for a boring boxing fight or like a sparring session. What it looked like, I think Triple G said it best when they asked him about the fight after it was over. The one thing I would say is that he did, you know, maybe because of Jacobs, styles make fights. He was able to throw some nice combinations that I liked, like the lead, left hook, caught him a couple of times. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't nothing surprising. I personally had the fight with exactly the way the judges had it, either 7-5 or 8-4. Competitive fight, but I always thought Canelo was winning or was in control of the fight.
Well, can I say something to that? It's a good what I'm saying, analysis, synopsis of the fight. There's a guy in the chat room named Wabi Wabi, and he says, or he said rather, hold on a second. He said, "Here come the excuses from the black fighters, from black people." He thinks you're black. Another guy that thinks recognizes a black guy. You got that fucking deep voice, man. That's the problem. People think you're. They don't know you
That's what
put.
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's the deep voice. I mean, I speak Spanish with a deep voice, and I guess my English is just, you know, is deep too. So,
Well, because you speak a little bit, you get this that a bit of a slang, the Brooklyn slang, so like
yeah,
intonation. So that's why.
it's
But
that Queen slang, you know.
But I don't see anything wrong with what you said. I mean, I think you described the fight perfectly. It wasn't the best the fight of the year. It was pretty entertaining, and I mean, it wasn't boring. It wasn't Mayweather Maidana 2 or whatever. But I don't understand why you
But it
would.
was
Yeah.
What excuses would you be making if you were black? I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with what you said. But anyway, what do you want from me? I can't
people are
figure out.
crazy, man. I mean, they think that he beat Golovkin and Canelo. I mean,
Well,
whatever.
you know what? Even like I don't know if you heard earlier, but I was reading boxing scene, the message boards, and there's people that think that Jacobs won, and there's one guy that says,
Yeah,
"Oh, I had." One guy says, "Oh, I had it 114, 114. The zone sucks. The commentators are biased." I'm thinking, what? Did you really think Jacobs deserved the draw, man?
Brian Kenny was trash to me. I think Sergio Mora was.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
bad,
Brian
dog.
Kenny was just trash. Like he's just trying to make sure he stays working for the zone. I think, and by kissing Canelo's ass. But look, it was pretty even. You had Sergio Moro. It's like, no, this is a close fight. I mean, it was close. He was a close second place, right? I mean, that's what does Max Kellerman say? The story of the fight.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In the
that was the
beginning,
story of the fight.
it did seem to appear that Canelo was just going to totally dominate because Jacobs couldn't get it going.
Right,
What do you?
right.
Yeah.
Now, when I think he got Canelo's rhythm, is when you notice he started giving him a good fight.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, and I don't think Brian Kenny ever changed his tune. And Brian and Sergio Mora, they just kept talking Canelo when they should have switched their commentary to be a little bit more fair and acknowledge Jacobs' work in those middle rounds.
Yeah, like I say, man. You know, I'm sorry, BDA. Were you saying something?
No, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, no. Yeah, like I say, Jacobs ain't got nothing to be ashamed of. He gave the two best middleweights of his era good work, bro. I thought Canelo edged it out. Like I say, I had it 7-4, one even. It was. I thought that it was a slow start to the fight, but I thought it picked up the last 4 or 5 rounds there, and we got some good exchanges. Like I say, it wasn't fucking Barrera Morales, but it was more entertaining than fucking about 95% of Floyd Mayweather's whole career. So that's
his
but
head movement is
You,
good, man.
yeah,
Canelo's head movement coming forward, man.
yeah.
It's nice, man. I
yeah,
like
yeah,
to
it's
hear
Fantastic.
really
that.
nice. Yep. I would dare to say that he did show an extra wrinkle by doing so well with his defense. That, like BDA was saying, it's going to be very, very hard for somebody to beat him. with that extra wrinkle, because we know he knows how to do all these other things. And with the leg things, I don't think he needs to rely on his legs like many other fighters do, because he does have that waist movement to compensate.
Yeah. I mean, but it's interesting because we're talking about Jacobs. He's a great counterpuncher, I think. And, he puts 1 and 2 punches together. But when it came to the combinations, he was sort of doing that like the shoe shine thing, slap, 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 hook, 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 hook. That disappointed me a little bit because I do respect his skills, but when it came to combinations, 3, 4 punches, then again, like I said
Yeah,
before, it's hard to hit a guy like Canelo when he's moving as well, his head as well as he did. I mean, it was just great head movement.
Smart.
oh yeah,
Very smart by him, fighting a guy that tall who can. There's a possibility he could start using his reach and height. And it's just like kind of distracts him, like, oh shit, this guy's moving his head. He's coming forward,
Right.
Maybe that's his way of cutting off the ring, Maybe not the traditional way, but
yeah,
it was working. It was working.
yeah. And the thing I like also about that defense, that defensive style, is that it looks like you don't have to use a lot of energy to fight like that. You can stay calm, poised, and relax, and observe the shots coming, and you don't have to, you exert a lot of energy. That's what I want to.
And by the way, sorry, just to interrupt, but some people are saying that Canelo didn't dominate because he didn't hurt Jacobs. I mean, come on. Do we really, if you don't understand the concept of how you win a fight without hurting the other guy, you're not a real boxing fan. Come on. Am I going to have to time somebody out?
No, he did hurt him once, BDA. Do you guys recall? He had Jacob stumbling
A little bit.
from one side of the ring to the other.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it was in the middle of the fight. But by the way, hold on before we continue, because I want to bring up Juan Manuel Marquez. Apparently, Bucho and some other people in the chat room are saying Marquez had some weird opinions about the fight. But I want to introduce Pete. Just came in. Pete, are you there? Calling Pete.
Fellas.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. How's everybody doing today? Recognize official Johnny Boy?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
Hanging in there, a little tired.
Doing good, Pete. Doing good.
Pete,
Yeah.
real quick.
What's up, Pete?
Pete, real quick. What did you think of the fight? Entertaining? About what you expected?
Yeah, about what I expected. I don't think either one of those fighters really put their best foot forward last night. I don't know. I gotta. I know everybody was saying, it wasn't living up to expectations, but if I was surprised by anything, it was. Well, I'll just give you what I took away from it. Danny Jacobs came in. I like his grit. I like that he doesn't fold the tent when it seems like he's getting outboxed and taking some pretty good shots there. Canelo, the head movement early on in the earlier rounds, I thought was there, like you guys are saying. It's pretty impressive. As the fight went on, I think Jacobs, his jab got a hell of a lot slower. He was like hanging his jab out there, more like fending Canelo off, more than actually trying to throw a jab. And I think it started letting Canelo counter whenever he wanted to. But I think as the fight went on, I don't know if it was Canelo, slumping in the mid rounds there, but the head movement kind of stopped from Canelo, and he started coming forward with no head movement. I don't know if he just wasn't feeling anything from Jacobs in terms of power or any kind of counters, or he wasn't really worried about it anymore, but he started coming forward without the head movement. And again, I don't know if that was his decision or if that was, fatigue on his part. But that shot that Danny Jacobs caught him with, that counter right hand, that fucking woke him up. I mean, I got his attention. I thought that he from that point on, for the next couple of rounds, I think, that caused him to, play a little more cautious.
I don't know about you, man, but I sort of saw that punch coming. Because he was, I don't know, like you said, I don't know if it was because he was getting tired or because he was just getting too confident, but he did stop moving his head and coming straight forward a little bit. And I said, oh boy, he's going to get caught. And bam, big left, what was it, a right hand, left hook?
He's
got right hand.
Stamina.
Yeah,
Right. He still has problems with stamina.
Stamina problems were back. I guess we didn't see him during the 2 Triple G fights. We obviously didn't, think they didn't present themselves in that Rocky Fielding fight. It was just too short of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think, I don't know. I think, let's put it like this. I think both of them, like Jacobs and Canelo, both looked stronger, looked faster, looked sharper in either of their fights against Triple G. Let's put it like that.
All right.
Styles makes fights the way they meshed. I think it had a lot to do with that, Pete.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, listen, Jacobs knows how to. He's a veteran. He's veteran enough to know how to. You could see him switching stances, not getting caught in the switch was what got him fucked up against Triple G. Getting caught switching. That's how Triple G got that knockdown, if you remember. So he was very careful not to switch at the wrong time. But maybe the going southpaw gave Canelo a bit of a different look. It seemed like Danny Jacobs couldn't take 2 steps before his back was against the ropes.
Yeah.
It seemed like he had more room to groove in that Triple G fight. But hey, listen, I got no problem with the scorecards. I think Canelo won the fight, obviously. Both of them got a damn good poker face. Because I think that shot, you could see it in Canelo's face sometimes where he'll catch a shot and he'll step back with his mouth open. Like he's got a mouth open. He's got to look like not hurt, not wobbled, but he's just like.
He's gasping for air.
Yeah, well, not gasping for air, just like literally shocked. He's snapped into reality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
maybe
just have to say, sorry, Pete. I think it was a left hand. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was that counter shot with the left hand?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because I'm left-handed. I'm picturing it in my mind.
The one that hurt him, I think, what was it, the 10th? The 11th?
Well, he didn't hurt him. It was a great shot,
but
it didn't hurt him.
Like it got his attention.
It caught him. It caught him.
Yeah.
It just looked like a great shot, and it didn't phase him at all.
All right,
it was a clean shot.
Sorry, before we
No,
continue,
it phased him.
Before we continue, sorry to interrupt, but I gotta introduce.
I don't think either of them put best foot forward.
I think.
All right, sorry to interrupt, guys. Sorry to interrupt. I gotta introduce Precise before we continue.
Dependent upon how you interpret the data.
What's up with all the transvestites in Hollywood, though?
Because if you're a postmodernist and you don't have any standards, you're always going to keep moving the goalpost, and you're never going to stick to your own standards because you don't have any standards.
That's right. Precise, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
I wasn't sure.
What's
I wasn't
up?
sure if you're gonna come in because I saw you were debating a bunch of people over at your channel.
Oh my god, man.
I seen it.
Fried my brain, man.
Yeah,
Charlatans.
Hey, nice house, Precise.
Oh, thanks, man. I built it myself.
That is nice.
I'm surprised.
Just had some rocks laying around. Literally.
I dropped by to show Precise some love. I seen him argue.
Yeah, I saw you, man. I saw you. I was just fucking losing my mind, man.
the last thing I saw was some guy coming into the stream wearing a mask, like a skeleton mask or something, thinking, "What the fuck is this going on?"
Calling himself Magnus.
Yeah, Magnus.
I'm awesome.
Yeah, I had to turn it off at that point. Magnum. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and he's just a philosopher dweeb kid.
and they always bring it back to the moral standard. Like, well, what is morality, and is it okay? Here's my thing with vegans: if killing is wrong, you gotta keep in mind from the Buddhist perspective, we're killing things all the time. When we wash our hands, when we wash our bodies, when we're fucking walking on the grass, we're killing animals all the time. So what are we supposed to do as humanity? Just collectively kill ourselves? I mean, come on. How far do you want to take this morality thing? It's insane.
It's ridiculous. And that guy wasn't even vegan, man. He was just there to tell me how wrong I am. That's all.
Yeah, you encounter those types here on the internet every day, man. They're just people just want to argue for the sake of arguing. Anyway.
So good.
Yeah. Getting back to the boxing, Precise, how did you see the fight last night?
You know, part of it was because I was really tired, but because the fight wasn't quite what I had expected, I have to say I dozed off for like a few minutes here and there.
Whoa.
But I got about 80% of it. But if I say something that's out of line, then you guys let me know. But I thought the feeling, obviously I wasn't sitting there scoring the rounds very well, but I thought Jacobs just gave away like the first 6 rounds, basically. And at the end of it, I felt like Canelo won clearly. Jacobs was competitive here and there, and maybe won up to 5 rounds. I can't really speak on it very well, but at no point during that fight did I feel like Canelo was losing or close to losing. Um, and I think the fight wasn't as exciting because, and this is a problem I've had in the past. First and foremost, uh, Daniel Jacobs, I won't say he was drained, that's an exaggeration, but he wasn't, 110% like in the Triple G fight. So we didn't get Daniel Jacobs at his absolute best. And Canelo, because he has the corruption and, the politics on his side, he doesn't really have to try as hard as someone like, let's say, Triple G, right? You know what I mean? So if he's barely winning a round, that's more than enough for Canelo. You know what I mean? He's not going to basically put himself at any unusual or extra risk if he feels like the round is close enough for the judges to give it to him. And that's always been my gripe with Canelo. He doesn't give us 110% because he doesn't have to, basically. And Danny didn't give us 110 because he couldn't.
Well, I
So
will
I think
say,
that's why the fight was a little underwhelming. It didn't suck, but it wasn't great either.
yeah, both guys were just too good defensively to really, it wasn't going to be like Johnny Boy said, it wasn't going to be Castillo Corrales. I will say this, though. I liked how they told Canelo before the 12th round, they told him, his trainers, with those tight shirts, they told him, listen, he's going to come at you. He's going to jump on you. And what did Canelo do? He jumped on him to try to, fuck him up. I like that. That's what I like. But, yeah, man, I mean, I guess we'll never know whether Jacobs was whether it would have made a difference if he would have been allowed to weigh in as much as or eat as much as he wanted right after the weigh-in. But what do you guys
Yeah,
think?
that. Oh,
Go ahead, John.
BDA. No, I was just gonna say, yeah, precise. That's exactly what I said. It wasn't fucking Barrera Morales, but it wasn't a goddamn Bernard Hopkins fight either.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it was fought at a very high level, lots of skill, like enjoyable, but underwhelming because of the hype and this is supposed to be because of
Yeah.
all the things that I already said. And like I heard I think it was Pete was saying something about how they compared to being in a ring with Triple G. Well, that had something to do with that, what I talked about. And the fact that Triple G doesn't let you think too much, you know what I mean? And when you're sitting there trying to counter punch and you got time to think, move your head and be all fancy, you're gonna look sharper, you're gonna look a lot better in those instances where you are getting off. With Triple G, who's pressuring you so much and making you think a lot faster and making you throw many more punches, you're gonna basically you're not gonna look as good no matter what. And I think don't tell me if I'm wrong, but I think neither Jacobs or Canelo threw as many punches against one another as they did against Triple G, and that's again because you have to try to keep Triple G off of you, and the only way you're going to be able to do that is by throwing punches.
I was speaking more towards the pre-fight variables in the Triple G fight with both of them. I just don't think Triple G A-sided Canelo probably didn't have the stroke to do that, especially in the rematch. But so in other words, what I'm saying to you is with regard to Jacobs, you don't want to make the IBF weigh-in. He didn't fucking make it. It is what it is. Let him come in. The no VADA testing, then no VADA testing. It is what it is. Triple G will take him on, regardless. And with Canelo, I just don't know that he had the stroke to negotiate. I just don't think he would do it anyway. It's just not in his nature. Well, I just mean the physical state of both guys in the ring the night of last night versus their fights with Triple G. I just thought they looked a lot sharper against Triple G. Physically sharper, more capable.
Pete, I think we were talking about this a couple of shows ago, and we were talking about how, well, maybe it was the last show, I'm not sure, but Triple G when he fought Jacobs did the same thing. He blew the second day weigh-in and never weighed himself. We could just guess that he was somewhere around 185 or maybe a little bit more. I don't know. It looked that way. He did look a little bit bigger, just a little bit bigger on the night against Triple G than he did against Canelo. Or at least he looked sharper. His muscle looked, like whatever weight he was carrying, it was more muscle weight, where he looked a little fat and slow at times when he was throwing punches against Canelo. Now that could have a lot to do with just Canelo being so, kind of like this elusive fighter and fast. That could have something to do with it as well. But you could tell that they were going to take this serious when it came to the weight gain, the next day weight gain on Jacobs, because there was a penalty to pay had he
Yeah,
done
of
this,
course.
right? Where, correct me if I'm wrong, was that the case with Triple G? I don't think so.
No.
No.
They're two totally different scenarios. It was simply just a sanctioning, the IBF sanctioning the fight or not in the Triple G fight. This was a term in the contract that Jacobs paid for by coming in 173 instead of under 170. But listen, I guess I don't want to harp on the weight thing. It is what it is. I got no problem with the scorecards, no problem with I'm just simply stating, going back to yesterday when he missed, when he missed weight, I'm going to call it, when he scaled in at 173. People are saying, oh, he just bought his way. He just rehydrated like he wanted to. I don't think that's the situation. I don't think that's the case. He simply.
You think he was affected a little bit by the cut?
Yeah, I think he attempted to only rehydrate 10 pounds overnight. And whether it be, comfort or need or miscalculation, he happened to get up that morning. I don't think they just wake up, fucking brush their teeth, go down and step on the scale. I think they step on the scale sometime, they always know what their weight is before they actually have to go down there. So I think he stepped on the scale and said, I'm 173. It is what it is. I'm gonna have to pay. I'm not gonna try to sweat off 3 pounds the day of the fight. Fuck that. So
And
no.
here's
No. Go ahead.
Sorry, bro.
So yeah, what I was asking yesterday was just what I legitimately trying to ask was, do you all think that this was, he just went 3 pounds over, miscalculated?
No, it was a decision. He spoke about it. It was his team. On water alone, he gained the 10 pounds. So the 3.6, he decided to eat a little bit and come in at 173.6.
He struggled. In other words, he was struggling.
Yeah.
He needed
He was struggling. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Well, and here's another thing. I don't know if you guys mentioned this or even thought about it, but Canelo had to make that weight too. Like, how did it affect him?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it affected him as much as Jacobs because he asked for it, so he was probably calculating, thinking, I'm gonna sacrifice a little bit to drain him that much more. And another thing, maybe we should start asking, how much did those Triple G fights take out of them two guys, right? They stood up to Triple G for the most part, but what are going to be some of the long-term effects from, Canelo fight with Triple G? I know fanboys like to say how he schooled him and all that other nonsense. Triple G took a beating, but so did fucking Canelo.
Correct. Yeah.
He did, and you know something? At times of that fight, I thought, you guys might think I'm crazy, but I thought he looked old. Canelo.
Oh, really?
I thought at times he looked kind of old. Yeah.
Huh.
Look,
no, I think he's still in his prime. He's still strong.
He's still in his prime. I get that age-wise, he's still in his prime. But if you really think about it, he's long in the tooth when it comes to boxing. He's been 15 years old. He's 28, going on 29. That's not that's not like a guy. That's not your average prime. Prime years when you hit 28, 29 in boxing usually means you've been in the game 9 or 10 years. We're talking about a guy who's been in the game 13 or 14 years.
Yeah.
In the boxing terms, that's a little longer, especially when you had 2 fights with Triple G and the kind of way and the kind of fight he's had with Golovkin. Okay, so it's a little long on the, he might be a little bit long on the tooth. Now I get it. He was able to bounce back and just look like he's, just landing the cleaner punches and look flashy. But I saw some moments in him where I was like, he looks a little tired for no reason.
I think he sparred 182 rounds.
Hold on, Gonzalo.
Okay. All right.
Maybe he's conserving himself. But real quick, I was just going to say, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Go ahead, Johnny.
I'm glad you brought that up, Recognized, because this kid, Canelo, turned pro when he was 15 or 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? He's got fucking 55 pro fights under his belt. That's a lot for a 28, 29-year-old kid. I mean, he's 28 or 29, like I say, but in boxing years, he might be 32, 33. You know what I mean? So he's got a lot of maybe there might be some wear and tear in that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Benitez was done at 30.
Exactly.
I know it's different. I know we're living in different times, and I get all that. But he started at 15 years old.
He boxed Sugar Ray when he was 21.
When he was 21 years old, and he was already considered he said in those veteran years, and so he was done. A lot has to do. I get different times and we living in different times. But you know, he was literally like, I remember in an interview, he was like, "Oh, why you didn't box past 30 and stuff like that?" And he's in poor shape right now. But I understood what he was saying. He was saying, "Look, I just couldn't do it no more. Just,
Yeah, and
you know,
yeah, and
my body was worn out, was wearing out." Is what he
yeah,
said.
and Benitez had fought Kid Cervantes when he was 17, and Cervantes was 30, bro. He was a high school senior when he fought Cervantes.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
Also, just a little
well,
note. Just a little note about Benitez is the other reason why he didn't last is because his father didn't put any discipline. His father was his trainer, and he just didn't discipline his kid. I mean, Benitez ran the gym. He trained when he wanted to, and it caught up to him too. So I was just meant to make a note about that. But go ahead,
yeah,
Gonzalo.
well, yeah. I think, well, I was listening to A Los Golpes, the Mexican channel,
Uh-huh.
and they mentioned that Canelo sparred 182 rounds to prepare for this fight. And they were saying that they thought that was a little bit too much. And I thought also that he looked not as fast in this fight. He looked actually a little slower. And as far as him being shop worn, well, he just like he's been around for a while, but he's barely coming into his own at the 160-pound division. And although those two fights with Triple G were grueling, I think in the sense of him being able to gain confidence as a dominant fighter after
Mhm.
going through that experience is kind of outweighing at the moment at his 28 years old. Although he's aging quicker, you can tell by the brace he wears in his knees that his body's probably not cut out to go for very much longer. I'm talking about 3, 4 more years. But at this point, I think those two fights, although grueling, they served him to be better equipped for the tough challenges. And if he is going to get, more wear and tear, it's going to be a little bit more down the line, not necessarily right now. I
Well,
think
you
we
know what
still
it
got
is.
a good version of Canelo.
You know what else it is too? I mean, because I got introduced too. Sorry, Gonzalo. But yeah, but and you know what it is, Gonzalo. Also, is maybe his knees and shit are breaking down because you see this with UFC fighters. They're injecting. I mean, well, they're on all sorts of stimulants, if you get what I mean, and their body sometimes it works harder than it can, based on the fact that they're taking these extra supplements, and that's where the tendons and the bones start breaking down. But anyway, I want to get back to that. But before we do, I want to introduce Stu, who just came in.
I wasn't bad though. I told you what's going to happen to Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
What's
Don't
happening,
hang
fellas?
up on me. I want to talk to you.
Oh, sorry, what? Oh, it's Stu. Good to have you on board, man. Stu, good to have you on board, man.
Yeah, that won't be the first time a woman shouted at me. But yeah, go on, what's up? What you do is talking about the fight, obviously,
Yes, we're
Yeah.
still on that. We're still on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to what you guys have got to say. I've just come in. I've been out, so I missed the first bit of the show, but I've listened to the last 10 minutes, and I'm struggling to agree with some of the comments that's being said. I had a feeling it was going to be not give Canelo his dues again. I'm not saying you guys because I've not heard enough, but I've seen a lot of people not giving Canelo his dues again, and I just think I must know nothing about boxing because I actually thought it was a very good performance. I thought he schooled Jacobs. I mean, what I saw on my TV, it was just he schooled Jacobs. Jacobs wasn't. I mean, I gave Jacobs 4 rounds, and that's being very kind to him. I mean, it really was. I mean, there's even the rounds I gave to him, they were in sympathy. I think I think he won 2 rounds clearly, and I just thought the better boxing, the better punching. Canelo does his work in bursts, and then that's too many breathers for me. That's one thing I don't like about Canelo Alvarez, because every time he put it on Jacobs, like I said in mid-range, Jacobs would have to work at mid-range to win this fight. But as soon as he got in mid-range, he was getting tagged up. So he spent a lot of it on the back foot, running, and then when he did stop and plant his feet and throw his hands, he was getting countered up and beat up, sort of thing. So I mean, he didn't win the jab battle for me. He wasn't throwing the cleaner shots. The defense, Canelo's defense, was miles above, like I said it was in the pre-show. I said Canelo's defense is much better than Jacobs, and it proved again that I was right there. But yeah, I mean, I just don't see where people can give Jacobs too much credit. I thought he came to survive, got miles behind on the cards, and then gave it a little last hurrah at the end. But even then, the last 2 rounds, he was getting beat up. And I mean, Carl Froch's commentary. If my TV wasn't expensive, I'd have smashed it last night. Listening to that fucking idiot. His
Oh, yeah.
scoring was.
Well, what he
But
how
yeah,
did he?
that's my thing on the fight.
Well, what did he say? How did he have it?
Oh, sorry.
He had. He gave round 12 to Jacobs.
Oh, come
He
on.
gave
Well,
round 7 to Jacobs. These were rounds that Canelo was dominating. He gave 11 to Jacobs as well. I mean, what is this fucking guy? I know he's had a nose job, but I reckon it's affected his sight because the
Well,
guy's
come
not
on.
seeing. It must be. The guy's
mean-
fucking clueless, and if that's not enough, he's got that fucking gimp next to him, fucking Adam Smith.
No.
Who just loves Jacobs. I'm sure. I tell you what, I bet he'd love to get Danny Jacobs in his hotel room all alone. That Adam Smith, because the way he was going about Jacobs last night, absolutely embarrassing. I mean, Canelo dominated that fight. I mean, are we going to start giving guys fucking credit for not getting knocked out? No, they're both there to win, and Jacobs just didn't look like winning.
Stuart, remember Crawford's ahead of Canelo on the pound for pound list. So that's right. Yeah.
No, I
Who
think
did
that
better, Stu, against Jacobs? Golovkin or Canelo?
That's a tough one because they're two different styles of fights. I mean, but did you see the size of Jacobs in there? I mean, I tell you what, people are saying it's about the Kovalev thing. So Kovalev's far too big. Let me tell you something. Now, Danny Jacobs is bigger than Kovalev. I'm fucking telling you now. Danny Jacobs was huge in there. So Canelo had the same problems Golovkin had. I thought, like I said, Golovkin was more of a pressure fight. It was more of a pressure fight. Well, I thought Golovkin. I don't think it was a very good performance from Golovkin. So I'd have to say Canelo's performance for me. I just thought that it did better work. But it was, like I said, different sort of fight.
I saw him as basically the same fight, only
very similar.
with
Very similar.
less action in
Activity.
this one. So neither guy really got busted up much. Like Jacobs, I thought was a little bit busted up against Triple G, and Triple G got hit more than Canelo did because there was just a lot more action, and Jacobs got put down.
I thought Jacobs let his hands go more in the Golovkin fight, though, didn't you? Or was I just seeing things?
Yeah, no, I'm
He did.
highly critical of Jacobs. Look, I think this is just my opinion. I think he was saving himself for that knockout shot because he didn't think he could get a decision and was probably trying to walk Canelo into a punch that never came. And I think maybe he was just saving himself to knock him out late. And but he just, like I said when I first came on the show, he just gave up a whole bunch of rounds from the very beginning. Didn't do anything.
Yeah,
like Canelo wasn't really. Canelo was landing good shots to the body here and there, but if Jacobs just stepped on it, if I felt like, and just threw some combinations, he could have taken like any of those rounds.
Yeah, but I think what a lot of people haven't pointed out is that every time Jacobs did try to do that, he was getting beat up at mid-range and in the inside and just getting tagged up. And the thing is, whenever Canelo decided just to up the gears and pile it on Jacobs, and Jacobs was looking in all sorts of bother. But like I said, Canelo just keeps giving you breathers and getting you back in the fight. And but for me, every time Jacobs was on the back foot because every time he did try to come forward and do his work, he was getting tagged up and countered. I mean, I think it was a very good performance from Canelo. I think maybe going down.
I saw Jacobs throw more punches against Golovkin than against Canelo. It seemed like he didn't respect. At some point, he didn't respect Golovkin that much because he actually had the balls to go and throw punches. The thing is, Golovkin just absorbed the punches. I'm not saying Golovkin was getting hit flush with Jacobs' punches, but he was just absorbing them. And Canelo was actually countering Jacobs, in my opinion. That's why Jacobs didn't do shit.
Well, the thing is, Jacobs was falling short that the head movement and the body movement by Canelo, which I said was world class, and he proved it last night. And I just think every time Jacobs tried to get some sort of rhythm going, he couldn't land, and he was getting countered. So he'd go to throw the jab. Canelo would feint it or move his head a little bit and then hit with the counter, and Jacobs is in trouble again. So I think he got a bit scared to fucking let his hands go. But
then again, Golovkin did more damage to Jacobs.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Like Danny Jacobs didn't have Triple G on the ropes teeing off on him like he did to Canelo. And I know he didn't do it a lot, but
he wasn't landing though.
Yeah,
Canelo loves to do that though. Canelo likes to fucking go on the ropes.
Yeah, but Danny Jacobs. Hold on, let me say something.
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Jesus Christ, Canelo. Danny Jacobs pushed him to the ropes, got him on the ropes, and okay, maybe he wasn't landing too well. Canelo does have good defense, but he did get him on the ropes and he did tee off on him. And I thought he should have been doing more of that because Canelo wasn't countering off the ropes very well. From, maybe I fell asleep here and there and missed the parts where he was, but that I think that has to be taken into account as well.
Yeah,
That's
no,
true.
definitely. Jacobs was fighting Golovkin from the outside because of Golovkin's power, and he was a big Jacobs, and so he had to fight him from the outside because Golovkin's too powerful. And in here, he was stepping up to Canelo, but Canelo was showing good defense and was countering, but obviously Golovkin's a bigger puncher, so that's how that played.
I think that the last night Canelo's fighting plan was based on his physique. I mean, on his physical advantages, on his explosiveness and everything. Yeah, you saw how Jacobs in the first couple of rounds was running away from his body shots. While Golovkin had a more cerebral approach, meaning that you see, for example, the way he knocked him down in the fourth round. It was when the very moment when Danny Jacobs switched from orthodox to southpaw stance, and the moment he switched, he doubled on the right hand, and that's how he caught him a couple of times. I think that Golovkin's combinations, although they were not as explosive and fast as Canelo's, were more creative against Jacobs.
Hmm.
You
I
see, here's the thing. Jacobs didn't step up to Golovkin like Canelo did. Canelo, when he fought Triple G, Canelo stepped up to Golovkin, and Jacobs didn't. He had to fight him from the outside. Now, when you have Canelo fighting Jacobs, that's what he does. I mean, he's powerful and he can take a punch, and he's got good defense. So I think Jacobs, he clearly is like Triple G and Canelo are above Jacobs.
They're the
They got
two.
more skills.
They're the two best middleweights of the era, Gonzalo. It's not even an argument as far as I'm concerned, bro. And BDA, I know you said to hold off, but I think this feels like a good time to bring it
yes,
up.
I was just about to say that. Go ahead, John Boy.
As far as the third fight with Triple G goes, okay, here's where I stand on this. I just made a video about this, okay? As far as the third Triple G Canelo fight goes, this is what I think about that. Make the fucker now. Make it now. Don't fuck boot doo Andrade. Fucking with his fucking Ray Shremmen fucking hair and his Uncle Junior glasses. Fuck Andrade. He ain't even fought nobody in the top 10 yet. I don't give a fuck that they gifted him a title. Fuck Andrade. Let's see what happens with him and Selecki first before we start talking about throwing him in there with either one of them guys.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. Make the fucking fight now, because you already waited Triple G out for that first fucking fight. Okay, then you pissed dirty for the second one and stalled that out even more. Because now, if you're gonna make it next May or some garbage like that, like fuck that, dude. Just make it if you're gonna make it in September, bro. He's already pushing 40. Let's get it on, or don't even make it at all.
Let me just say something real quick. Let me say, yeah, but who wants to fight Triple G 3 times in a row? If we're talking about how these fights are very grueling for Canelo, imagine fighting him a third time. How much that's going to shorten his career and the 9 fights he's got left in this contract. I mean, what's going to happen then? Just thinking about it, I'm pro Canelo right now, just for the sake of the debate.
Shorten Canelo's career? That's great for boxing. Come on, it's great for boxing. Let's do it.
Well,
you
yeah,
say
but
that?
it's not great for Canelo and his
Canelo,
team.
right? But it probably would be great for boxing. I think I'm sorry, I'm just jumping back on, but I think Precise posed the question. What was it that who did better? Was it who did better against Jacobs, Triple G or Canelo? Right?
Yeah, BDA posed that question
Okay,
earlier.
excuse me,
Yeah.
BDA.
Well, both of us.
I'm sorry. Can I just touch on that quickly?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, for me, it's Golovkin. It's pretty hands down, dude. He battered his face. He dropped him. His punches were more effective. Now I get it. Maybe he didn't get to hit Canelo as much. I don't know what the total punch number was, but I'd rather do that. It's all about perceptions for me. It's like, look, I dropped you. You look like you're gonna need some ice on that face for a couple of weeks. And so therefore, I thought he did better. And not only that, Danny Jacobs, he dropped to his knees because he couldn't believe he survived 12 rounds. It was just like, God damn, thank God the bell is finally rung, because I felt like I was going to get knocked out eventually.
I thought that was a poor performance. I thought that was a poor performance from Golovkin. I mean, I keep hearing what a great performance it was by Golovkin. No, it wasn't.
So how do you feel about Canelo then? What are you saying about Canelo?
It wasn't a great performance, but he schooled Jacobs a lot. I just thought it was just a lot. Canelo was in like second, third gear. Golovkin brought a lot. Jacobs won a lot of rounds in that fight. I mean, even I was getting worried. I had Golovkin winning at 115, 113, but I was getting fucking worried because this guy was letting Jacobs tee up on him and not responding. At least Canelo was having the last say in the trading off sort of thing. Golovkin wasn't. I mean, Golovkin won the fight for me. It was just a poor performance. I
thought Jacobs barely won 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah, I gave Jacobs 3 rounds. I mean, if you think
that's
Canelo out jabbed him, Jacobs, and I don't disagree, what the hell did Triple G do? I mean, he was eating jabs all night. And the thing that I want to say, this isn't necessarily the best argument because judges, go figure. But check this out. Triple G fought Danny in New York on his home turf. Danny fought Canelo on his home turf, you could say, right? At the very least, it was 50-50. And the judges had both of them fights scored almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
The point differential between the two of them was exactly the same. Now, why would they give Danny Jacobs the benefit of the doubt against Canelo? And you know what I mean? Unless he really earned it. That's my point.
Yeah, here's my thing, bro. I said this, I think, before Precise and a couple of you guys jumped on. I scored the Jacobs Golovkin fight 8-4 plus the knockdown. So that's 116, 111. This fight last night, I had it 7-4 and 1 even with no knockdown. And I recognize that Jacobs looked in worse shape coming out of the Golovkin fight than he did last night. And plus, he dropped him. So I don't see how Canelo's performance was. I mean, it was close.
Boxing skills.
Yeah, but Golovkin dropped Jacobs, but the latter part of the last 6 rounds, is like Jacobs was actually also throwing punches, and he didn't look that scared though. And in this fight, I feel Jacobs. I mean, it's not like Canelo threw a lot of punches in this fight either. So what I'm saying is,
Jacobs lost everything. Everything in this fight. He lost the jab battle. He lost landing the power punches. You know, the body work, just everything. The defensive work was better from Canelo. Canelo did everything better on the night. And like I said, I think Golovkin was not at his best against Jacobs. So you've got to look at it that it was a poor performance by Golovkin. He still got the job done. You know, I had him winning the fight. No arguments here. But I thought Canelo's boxing skills just were a bit superior to Golovkin's on that night. But that's just what you like. It's what you like.
Yeah, and this night, like I mentioned, Jacobs usually scores at 33% connect rate, and he only did a 20%. Although the defense had a lot to do with that, and Eddie Hearn said it himself. He thought that Canelo clearly won. You can think what you want about that, but like for example, when Triple G fought Jacobs, many thought that Jacobs won. Although I personally don't agree. But now what are people gonna say? That Jacobs got robbed? Or they're still saying it, but not as much as they did when he fought Golovkin. But that's just a matter of opinion. I don't say I totally agree with that.
Yeah, but people hate Triple G, and fucking the more I look at it, the more people seem to love Canelo. I don't know why, but it is what it is. But the judges didn't think Canelo did any better than Golovkin. They didn't think so.
But also, you could kind of say that there's more scrutiny put on the judges now because they're the past scorecards.
Yeah. Precise, you remember because you did this video. Do you remember that reporter for the New York Times? Now, this is a big, the New York Times is big, bro. This is big time. He said right in front of us so we can see, he put a picture of Gennady Golovkin and said, Golovkin may have edged out a win over Danny Jacobs, but his face, his battered face, tells a different story. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. What battered face was he talking about? Was he talking about Danny Jacobs and just mentioned Triple G by accident? Or was that purposely done to try to tell you, look at Triple G's face and go look at that fight at the end of the fight and go look up Jacobs' face at the end of that fight?
Both of his eyes were closing.
What the fuck are you? What is this guy talking about? So I think there's some perception. Look, that fight to me wasn't close. I mean, I respectfully disagree with anybody in the panel. That fight wasn't close to me. That was a one-sided. One guy's clearly winning the fight. And there was no hesitation. You can call me a Triple G fanboy all you want. That's fine. But when it comes to boxing, the name of the game is punching and damaging your fighter. Who does it the most? And there's no way. What the hell is that?
Yeah, precisely.
That's in Ecuador. That's pretty cool.
Sorry, there's some birds over here.
It's all right. If you look at that fight, Danny Jacobs was on the losing end throughout the whole fight, just about. He barely won rounds. He was winning rounds on morality instead of the fight. Oh, look at him punching his chest.
Both of these fights. Look
at him in both fights. I agree.
Danny Jacobs lost to Canelo and to Triple G clearly.
Clearly.
No, I mean, honestly, I know they say and they say and they saying and this, they're saying that. They say whatever the fuck they want. Jacobs lost to both of these guys clearly.
Hands down.
Not a question. I can't argue.
Yeah, for the record, like I thought Canelo won the fight clearly. There's no question in my mind. But I've heard a lot of people, so-called pundits, so-called experts, fuck them, don't get me wrong, but I heard a lot of them say it could have gone either way. I heard a lot of this going on.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Sympathy. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I've been saying it for ages. When you fight Americans, especially in America, for every one shot they land, you have to land 4 back on them.
No, this is Mexicans. This is Mexicans saying this. Yeah, but this is I think Joel.
Oh, what Marquez, the guy that fucking can't stand Canelo. You know that cheating bastard Manuel Marquez. That one.
Oh.
Well, yeah, but right, but that's exactly what I was saying. A lot of people don't like Triple G. A lot of people don't like Triple G. No, I know, but that's exactly what I'm saying, bro.
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
That's
There's
exactly
a lot
what I
of
was
guys
saying.
that don't like him.
Don't like Triple G. That's why they gave the fight to Danny. To me, Triple G dominated Jacobs. Jacobs had moments. Jacobs won some rounds legitimately, but like Triple G dominated that fight. I thought Canelo clearly won the fight. I thought Triple G did a better job because he fought a better version of Jacobs, and he didn't fight a Jacobs coming off a loss, arguably, right? He fought a Jacobs that was on a 10-round knockout or 10-fight knockout streak. Who has he knocked out recently? Nobody. So and he wasn't. There was no weight stipulations. There was none of that bullshit. He fought him in his hometown. And, yeah, he got hit more than Canelo, but that's because he hit Jacobs more than Canelo did hit Jacobs. I don't see much of a difference as far as, like, who performed better. Considering everything.
Hold on, Stu. 1 second, Stu. I was just going to say, yeah, but, obviously, Golovkin did better because there's a fucking Eastern European agenda for everybody.
Well, you know what? I want to add something to that. I want to add something to this whole thing about who did better. My point of view on this is, I thought from what I saw, and I've seen that fight multiple times, Golovkin Jacobs. I think Jacobs was being more competitive as the fight went on, whereas Canelo always kept an edge against Jacobs. Another thing is that Golovkin seemed pretty relieved when the decision went to him against Jacobs. I don't think he felt, going by that Max Kellerman judging standard of who would you rather be, Golovkin didn't seem like he was
get robbed.
Well, maybe, but here's the other thing. Here's my smoking gun. Paulie Malignaggi had Daniel Jacobs beating Triple G, so there you go.
Yeah, right. That's
checkmate.
The smoking gun right there.
Checkmate.
Yeah, because he's a boxer. He's not a puncher. Malignaggi always thinks like that.
If we're going to go by we're going to score fighters by the state of people's faces, then we better say clearly that Canelo won the second fight against Golovkin, because Canelo looked like he went for a facial. Golovkin looked like he put his face in the fucking meat grinder. So you can't go by faces. Some people, and it's the fights are different.
You can when the guys get dropped.
Bullshit, Stu. Bullshit. Canelo was cut the fuck open. And what are you talking about? Canelo looked busted up too. He had a huge cut on his face. Yes, he did. Golovkin cut him. It wasn't a headbutt.
that was a punch.
He cut him open. Come on, man. Let's keep
he
it
busted
real.
him
Come on.
open.
Yeah, the Triple G also had
I'll
damage.
just be
Triple G
quiet
also
because
had damage.
it's clear we're in a fucking Triple G fan club here, and I don't want to be part of it.
No,
So
I'm not.
Oh, come on.
Nah, just keep crack on, boys, isn't it? Fuck this.
I kind of agree with Stu. I mean, I'm gonna sound like a Canelo fucking lover, but look at the pictures side by side, man.
Wait a minute.
Like,
Did Stu just?
Golovkin, I'm not saying. I'm just saying the face did look all purple and shit, man. It's like,
Hold on.
Hold on. Stu said he went for a facial. He didn't go for Stu's exaggerating. Yeah, okay. I agree with you that Golovkin was more busted up than Canelo, but let's not act like Canelo wasn't busted up at all. That's bullshit.
Okay,
it is bullshit. It is bullshit.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
By the way, can I say something? Hold on. I was going to say something. Now Stu is saying in the chat room, "Fuck this Triple G fan club." I'm out. Come on, we can't agree to disagree. I mean, we can't have this.
Come on, Stu. Come on.
Yeah, man. What the fuck?
Come on, man.
You know, I love you, man, but
look, I've said it. I've said that if you guys thought he won the fight, Canelo, I can't argue with you. The second fight I'm talking about, I cannot argue with you. It was a close fight. There was some swing rounds that I may have given a little bit more swing rounds. Actually, there was a lot of fucking swing rounds in that fight, but there was some swing rounds that I could have given it to Canelo, and the fight goes either way. Okay, it was a close fight. The argument here is who did better. I mean, look, if you're the type of person that enjoys that kind of style, less confrontation and stuff like that, okay, I understand, I get it. I'm talking about the fight that Golovkin and Triple G had, Golovkin and Jacobs had. That to me was more impressive because there was a lot more action. And he battered his face because he was beating him up, bro. It wasn't like, oh, if you're gonna go by facial, then that means no. There's a difference. There's content. He was getting beat up, man. And
here's the thing. Here's the thing, bro. With the second Triple G Canelo fight, okay, it could have gone either way. Like I said, if you had it 7-5, one way or the other, or a draw, I'm cool with that. I don't care who the fuck you thought won, bro. It don't matter. It was a close fight like that. Now the first fight, Triple G got robbed. And as far as the second fight goes, okay, fine. Triple G was a little bit more bruised up. But let's not pretend Canelo walked away unscathed. Like fucking Precise and Recognized just said. He was cut over the eye. In the last 4 rounds there, Golovkin was playing fucking ping pong with Canelo's head. So let's not forget that either.
Oh, yeah, the last 4 rounds in the row. He took them all, in my opinion. Yeah, in the second fight. Second fight.
I don't understand the whole thing about it's a Triple G fan club. Bucho, myself, and I think even Gonzalo agreed that we're on the side of Stu that Canelo did better than against Jacobs and Golovkin. So I don't understand
and BDA, like you're entitled. Everybody's this is a boxing talk. We just entitled to give our interpretation of what we thought happened.
Exactly.
It's nothing like concrete. I hate when people make it like concrete. No, what I say is 100% factual in terms of like who you thought did better. Look, man.
Well, but that's the only thing. That's the only thing I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with Stu having a different opinion or BDA or Butcher having a different opinion. What I have a problem with is like not telling the truth. Canelo was busted the fuck up. Like he got caught. Like how do we come on? That's not a valid argument. I'm gonna have to call that out. I'm not a fanboy. I give Canelo props. I think he did well, but let's not act like. But to sit there and say that Triple G did had a poor performance against Danny Jacobs. If he did, then what the fuck do you say about Canelo, man? Come on, let's keep it real, man. That wasn't, Jacobs is a good fighter, and he tested both Canelo and Golovkin in different ways.
I agree.
And
agree.
You know what I mean? I don't got a problem if you believe that this is what happened. Fuck, I fell asleep during the fight. Maybe I missed something amazing.
No,
you know what I mean?
You didn't miss anything. It was just the same
but,
shit.
But I'm not. Yeah. But I'm not gonna just because you disagree with me, I'm not gonna say you're a fanboy. That's not fair. That's below the belt.
I was just gonna say, this was a Debbie Downer to many people because they expected a totally different fight. But you guys remember back in the days when Bernard Hopkins fought Winky Wright, how they were so excited, the boxing pundits and and the fans that were considering it to it was how was gonna be a great chess match,
Yeah,
and they were looking up to that fight.
Gonzalo.
Here we thought we didn't. Yeah,
They had
go
fucking
ahead.
Marvin Hagler calling that fight. That's how fucking excited they were for a Bernard Hopkins fight. For Christ's sake, the fuck, man. Yeah,
I'm just saying this turned out to be a totally different product than what people thought. I don't know if they advertised it as something else, but it was a chess match.
I agree.
Well, let me tell you, we do have Bucci just provided me with a picture here of Triple G and Canelo, how they looked after the rematch. Is that after the rematch, Bucci? Yeah, it is, because Canelo's cut. You can see Canelo's cut there, and even though he might not look as bruised up as Golovkin did, but he's not. He doesn't
Golovkin
look.
was bruised up, and there's no doubt about that, man. He was bruised up. It was he took some punches. He took some punishment in that fight, but that Canelo was just walking out of there, nothing happened to him. Oh man, he got the business too.
Yeah, they both listen. They were both marked up. They were both cut. And
listen,
like
I remember getting into a fight with this kid, and my boys were like, "You fucked that boy up." I was like, "Nah, I don't think so."
Yeah.
I told him
Golovkin
like that.
had never looked like
"What do you
that
mean by
before.
that?" I was like, "That dude was catching me with some shit that I wanted to take a shit on myself, like literally."
Oh,
like if you ask both of them, you pull them to the side, and they'll tell you. You take Canelo. Was that an easy fight? Like, I'm God. You could tell him. You could talk to me, and he'll tell you, no, that wasn't an easy fight. I thought I was gonna die at certain points.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
What it does. This is what boxing is, man.
I guess the 10-year-old did that to you. That's insane.
Yeah, man, a 10-year-old. He beat the shit out of me. I mean, I got the best of him in the end, but he was busting me up.
I'm sure you
in the
did.
schoolyard.
I kicked that little motherfucker right between his balls. Boom. I gotta get out of here before I die.
Gonzalo, you were gonna say something, Gonzalo?
I was just gonna say Triple G looked beat up too, but the reason why is because nobody had fought Triple G like that before. In the pocket, I mean, Jesus, Triple G's a killer. So obviously he was gonna hurt Canelo too, but Triple G looked beat up because he was in there.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody had fought Triple G that way.
Well, listen, I'm amazed at how even in the chat room people are riled up about this Triple G Canelo talk. If a third fight happens, a rubber match happens, oh boy, let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of shenanigans going.
I want to see that fight, and I think Gonzalo brought it up sooner than later, man.
That's what I said.
Someone last night was talking about on the last show was talking about how these letting these fights marinate. I don't know if we're talking about Spence Crawford or about Wilder or AJ. I don't know which one of these across the street type fucking fights that everybody wants to see, that there's so many barricades in the way and obstacles. And someone was saying about this whole letting this fight marinate, and someone brought up like Pacquiao and Floyd. Listen, the big takeaway, what I thought about after that during that show, is that the problem with fucking letting these fights sit like this, not only is one guy aging and the other guy is, a guy like Golovkin's aging. Obviously, he's taken for every day that goes by. Triple G's closer to the end than Canelo is, right? So that's obvious. But even if they were the same age, the same point in time, the same position in their careers, the problem with letting these fights sit like this is that there's so much caution for both guys in the meantime, not to take a loss or to take a knockout against the guys are fighting in the meantime while they're letting this shit marinate, if you want to call it that. It seems like they're trying as hard as they can to be as careful as they can. You understand? They don't want to risk taking a loss before it gets to this big fight.
Pete.
So you get matchups that are like no one wants to see. No one wants to see, Wilder fight these fucking jokers, and no one wants to see AJ knock Diaz kid out. They want to. They want to see the fight already.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I agree. Hold on, Johnny. Hold on. I agree with you. Just I don't want to lose my train of thought. I agree with you, but not really in the case of Canelo Golovkin, because like I had mentioned, I think it would be a grueling affair, and the only reason that I could see it happening is since Canelo's being really good defensively. He's shown that he's got the skill to be able to fight a fight and not take so much damage. Plus, because the 160-pound division at this moment is kind of thinned out. It's very weak. You could actually say that. So there's no other fight than this one to be made, and I don't think that either of these two would take a loss to anybody else. You know, maybe aside from a Jacobs rematch, but he's moving up in weight. And as far as the PBC side and all the other fights, yeah, you're totally right on that. But I think De La Hoya alluded to the fact that he's willing to work with Top Rank and all these other promotions. So from his side of the house, he has no problem.
Forget about
that's all. Just
forget about hypotheticals and what De La Hoya says. I'm talking about this. I'm just saying sooner than later.
Yeah,
they're both big boys. They're both professionals. Triple G will go at it. Canelo will go at it. Nothing that Triple G saw last night's gonna steer him away from Canelo. Nothing from what Canelo's gonna see against what's this guy's name that Triple G's fighting?
Rolls.
Yeah, nothing that Canelo sees Triple G do against Rolls is gonna scare him off. It's just every day that goes by, we're getting
further and further.
Yeah, especially for Triple G.
Yeah,
make the fucking fight. But you can see what. Listen, Gonzalo, if you don't want it to happen right now, or if you think it shouldn't, you're gonna get your fucking way, because you can see that these guys on the zone, you know, we can talk about the production of the broadcast and all this later. I won't get too deep into it, but man, they're pretty fucking ham-handed. Yeah.
And that's what I said. I got something to add to what you're saying, because I agree. If you're gonna make the third fight, like I said before, in my Floyd Mayweather voice, fucking, if you're gonna make the fight, make it fucking now. Golovkin's already 37 years old. What, are you gonna wait another year and a half till the guy's 40?
Yeah, I'm not saying.
Canelo's gonna do everything in his power to wait Golovkin out even more.
Exactly precise. Exactly.
I mean, if we are to judge by what he's done in the past, why wouldn't he? It's in his favor not to fight Golovkin right away.
And you know what? Canelo's going to get what he wants. You can see where these commentators are a little. How do I say this?
A little biased.
Wishy-washy. Wishy-washy.
No, they're not wishy-washy at all. The motherfuckers aren't wishy-washy. They're pretty fucking. They're pretty.
Straight. Yeah, I like.
Well, guys,
I like Sergio
sorry,
Moro.
but no, I don't like them at all, man. But sorry, I was just gonna say, did you guys notice on the zone they kept interviewing Andrade the whole time, like 50 times? Because that's the next fight, man. That's the next fight.
Good show. Well, obviously, you could see these guys are a little bit fucking clumsy about it, but they keep handing over to Andrade. Where the fuck's Andrade been for the last year? I haven't seen this guy. He looks like a fucking 8th grade skateboard kid. I don't know what he looks like. Oh. He's got his glasses on. He's got his glasses on and his little dreadlocks.
Wait a minute.
You know, obviously, if Canelo wants to not fight anytime soon against Triple G, and they want to make other fights, and if Gonzalo thinks that's for the better, you're gonna get your way, because you can see.
No, I didn't say it was for the better. I didn't say it was for the better. We're talking about how. Let me just mention this real quick, because I don't like people saying putting words in my mouth. I'm just saying that look, the fights were grueling. These two guys are killers, and they fight for a third time. I mean, the fans want to see it. Make it happen, because the division is really thin. There is no other fight to be made. Yeah, but I'm saying, as far as like physical damage, are they gonna really want to go that route? I'm saying do it, but as camps. You think they're really gonna think, for Canelo's sake, that this is the option to take? They'd rather move to 168. They're already talking about it, because there's no other fight to be made. Make it happen, but it's probably not gonna happen. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, but I'm just speaking the truth. Ducking or not, it's just what I'm saying. This is the way that it is, that I think.
I'm not sure.
I agree.
I'm not sure what they want, but what you're gonna get is not Triple G Canelo next or right now. You could see the way they're. All I'm saying is you could see, obviously, by the way they keep handing over to Andrade. They interview him after the fight. He wants Canelo. He wants Triple G. He wants everybody, like he always does. Well, I think you're going to see that. Obviously they're setting something like that up first. But
that's not even happening in September either, because Andrade is fighting in July, and that's too close for the September bout. Canelo's going to fight somebody else, and it ain't going to be Triple G. Yeah, but there's no other fight to be made. I mean, because the division is weak.
I agree with you.
There's also rumors that they're willing to offer Errol Spence $20 million to come to fight.
Yeah,
Golovkin. Yeah.
We don't. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see that little fucker get his ass beat.
Wait, hold on. Who's offering who? Who? What?
This
Is that on
rumor's
the?
going around. It's mostly on Instagram that I've seen it. Some of these boxing channels, boxing blogs, I guess you can call it. And there's like, oh, there's rumors going around that Canelo might offer Earl Spence $20 million to come over to the zone to fight.
Not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
No, I know it's not going to happen because Earl Spence won't. Al Heyman won't let that happen.
He's gonna get his fucking ass beat.
He didn't
More
even
than
want
likely, yeah.
$100 million for Wilder to go to the zone. Why would he
Yeah.
allow? Yeah, no.
No, of course it's not going to happen. I think they're just going to throw if they do, they just might give him a phone call and say, "Look, we're interested in fighting Earl Spence," and you'll get a quick no, and then he'll move on. You know.
So the question
That's it.
then becomes,
They just-
which guy do you guys want to see Canelo fight? Do you want a rubber match? Do you want to see him fight Andrade, Charlo? Do you want to see him move up to 168? What are we looking at here?
Whoever, man. I mean, look, I would like to see him if he fights Triple G. Let him have. If he wants to fight Triple G, let him fight. You know, let them fight again and see what happens. I think it's still a good fight, man. You know, let's see what happens. If he's gonna fight fucking Andrade, make that fight happen, get it over with. Look, Canelo is in a position to make a whole lot of money. This is why they signed him. So whoever he fights, it's going to be a big event. It's going to be promoted as a big event for boxing. And whoever he fights, of course, I'm going to watch. I'm a boxing fan.
It's
So,
like,
go ahead.
but for me, it's like this. What do we want to see? Do we want to see as competitive of a fight between those two as possible? Or do we want to see Canelo beat up an old Triple G? It's like, come on, if you're going to be paying for this shit, you want to see the best fights possible, not some old ass Triple G. He's already fucking old, man. Getting beat up by this young buck. Like, come on, man. This is just nonsense.
Which goes to the markings on the face as well. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get into the marking. You just can't go by facial marks.
No, and that's why I said that's why I told you it wasn't just the bruising on the face. He was beating him up, bro. He was beating. That's what I saw when I watched the fight.
It's part. Look, it's
winning
part
the
of
punching
it.
battle.
Getting marked up on your face, that's all part of it. It's just one of the criteria you got to look at. And just to touch on that real quick, if Golovkin, his best rounds were late, obviously he's not going to accumulate the same type of damage that Canelo will accumulate if he starts early. But so it doesn't give you a perfect reflection of the fight, is what I'm saying. A guy could get completely busted up in the last 12 round, and the other guy could have been outboxed for 11 rounds and barely touched up at all. You know what I mean? It doesn't really mean that much.
I think too that what you were mentioning about how much more exciting and how much more motivated Canelo seemed to be in these Triple G fights. Whereas I think we saw this last night, he took more breaks. Let's just say, he was a little more cautious. He took more breaks. He wasn't in as high of a gear. I just think those fights were close, man. And Canelo knew those fucking fights were close.
And Triple G is going to push him. We're going to get the best version of Canelo, and we're going to get the best version of Triple G.
He's not going to fucking, not going to have a false sense of I got this thing won. He's going for it all the way to the 12th round because he knows that he's getting, I don't think either of those guys walked back to the corner and, got told that it was in the bag or felt like it was in the bag. I don't give a shit what Canelo said after the fight. I'm saying in either of those fights, I think when they're in there, they're both evenly matched. Their styles are a good matchup, and they're both going for it because they have to. Canelo couldn't let off the gas in either of those two fights, unless he was forced to. He had to give it his all because those were both close fights, regardless of how the scores came out. You know when you're in a close fight. You know when this is going back and forth. So
yeah, you know what? In a weird way, a lot of people want to see it, but at the same time, a lot of people don't want to see it as well because they're so evenly matched and they were close fights that I think subconsciously they think they don't want to see the fighters take that damage fighting themselves 3 times in a rubber match.
Hey, before we continue, we got
my
Apology
opinion.
on the line, so I gotta introduce him here. Hold on a second.
Speak of the devil, and it shall appear. She just wanted the drama and you two to fight with her. That's what women do. Your punishment must be masturbate. I lost respect for all of you.
Bitches are stupid. I treat them like shit. That's how you get one to eat a dick. Never be sweet to a bitch.
All right, Apology's in the house. Apology, I gotta ask you, man. because we're talking, we move way past the whole Canelo Jacobs, the actual fight. I'm gonna ask you, who would you rather see Canelo take on right now? Triple G again? Maybe a rematch with Jacobs if he earned it? Maybe go up to 168? What do you think?
Probably go up to 168 because we've seen the G match twice. I don't think in the third fight, I think Canelo will get the decision again, regardless of what happens. So there's no point. It's like, what's the point? We all know it's going to be fixed and stuff. And if you moving up to 168, there's good fights for him. There's Callum Smith, which I think Hugh Pop might lose to, but that's to break down another day.
Mm-hmm.
There's Caleb Plant, and I'm not sure what Zerda's doing, but that'll be like a decent test to see how Canelo handles a big guy that moves. So I think 168, he should move up and go there.
Well, like people are saying, he did handle a bigger guy last night quite comfortably. So I think he'll be just fine at 168. And Liam Smith, but the guy can crack, though. The guy can crack. Guys, do you want to move on from the whole Canelo thing, or do you want to talk about the other fight we had on ESPN, Beterbiev? Arthur
Whatever
Beterbiev.
you guys want to do. I like that fight. I just finished watching it not too long ago.
There was a card on ESPN last night.
Yeah, Arthur
Yeah,
Beterbiev.
Beterbiev.
Can I just say one last thing before we move on? I just want
No.
to say one last thing, man.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Look, the plan is to make the fight happen, okay? I'd rather not see it because I know how it's going to go, like what Apology was saying. I get it. But they want to make the fight. So if they are going to make the fight, better now than later. A lot better to make it now than to make it later, okay? Anything other than right now is a bitch move on Canelo's part, period.
I agree. They got to make it as soon as possible. September. If they're going to make it, they're going to make it this September. Hope they don't do it. They don't.
Oh, can I add one thing? I just wanted to add one thing.
Please.
I like the new Triple G approach. I'm hearing he only wants to talk in his language, and you can already hear the slickness. Yes, that's right. I'm using it. The slickness coming out of his tongue. Yes, I like the little jabs he took at Canelo and Jacobs, obviously too. Because
What'd he say? What'd he say? I didn't hear.
He said it looked like a sparring match in there. This didn't look like two champions fighting each other.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of slickness,
he didn't say it in that way. The way it was interpreted, it was a jab at them. He's like, look, I thought they should have fought with more intensity. And how do you feel? Are you suffering any like emotional whatever? Suffering your first loss? He goes, no, not really, because I thought I won both. I thought I won that fight too. So you take the combination of maybe him just approaching it as, look, I'm going to speak in my language, and I feel comfortable speaking that way, because it is kind of overwhelming when you're trying to show somebody you can speak their language. It's like me trying to speak fucking Russian, right? If I was
Swahili,
to try to do it would be, or Swahili, whatever, it would be. I would be under a lot of emotional distress to get my point across. But you add that in a new trainer. I think this guy coming out of the Kronk gym and training guys like Vladimir Klitschko. Maybe he can add something to a guy who mainly likes to jab and Golovkin, because I think Golovkin got away from mixing up his right hand punches, and maybe that could be fixed. Who knows? So,
well, you know what?
I like this new move.
It's interesting to recognize because you saw Golovkin with the 1980s Jean-Claude Van Damme vest, with the rolled up sleeves. He had sunglasses.
He doesn't give a fuck anymore.
He had sunglasses on.
He thought he was it too. Like he felt like, yo, I'm the man. I'm it.
Like some Miami Beach shit from 1982. That coral color and some dark ass shades, like some Ray-Bans and shit. Like real dark.
Exactly. He was wearing
that little boy haircut. He got that little boy haircut, Like
he looked like a bad guy. He looked like a bad guy from 1980. Well, hold on. He looked like a bad.
Not Mexican.
Okay, can I say? Hold on.
Hold
on. What I'm just saying is, all I'm saying is, Golovkin seemed to have this makeover now, where he's trying to play. Is he trying to play the bad guy a little bit? Do you think?
Yes. Maybe he is. Like, maybe he doesn't care if he offends you.
Yeah, but don't you guys think that this was long overdue, man? I don't. Listen, I I commend like Loma, right, for coming in with the typical kind of like herky jerky with the translator and all this, and you could see he's making a conscious effort to if you speak more than one language, but one way, so let's just say, right? If I was trying to be interviewed by ESPN Deportes or something like that in Spanish, right? It would help me I could understand what they're asking me in Spanish, and it would help me, if anything else, if I needed a clarification from an interpreter, I could get it. He understands the questions just fine, but when it comes to explaining yourself, I think Loma's taking leaps and bounds with his English, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think Triple G from the very get-go, man. Let's be real, you got Kellerman. Well, since he's been here, Kellerman is, peppering him with these complex questions, right? And really, Triple G, man, he just answers whatever the fuck he wants to say before the question's even asked, right? It's very simple. It's a kind of, it's Mexican style, or it's drama show, or it's I love box. He's a good boy. I love box. I love this shit.
I agree. It's long overdue. They infantilize the guy, if that's the right word. He's a grown ass man. I think he's just maturing. He's done with all that little being a fucking cartoon character. He's over that. It was cute for a while, but it got really old, and I'm tired of a grown ass man being treated like a little fucking kid, and they did that same shit with Pacquiao, and they always keep doing that shit, but I think he's just disillusioned, tired of promoting himself in a certain way, and he's just all business now. And I like this new Triple G a lot more than that other like little kid, whatever the hell it was. We never got any like good interviews with Triple G. Never. Remember when Steve Kim, or was it Dougie Fisher? It occurred to them, because it's such a fucking hard thing to figure out, to get a fucking translator and get a good interview, and everybody was like, wow, Triple G, he's actually an intelligent person, he's saying things I've never heard him say. It's like, how fucking dumb are you? And one last thing, Max Kellerman and all those guys, they are idiots. Okay, it's really a statement on how fucking dumb you are for you to be talking to Triple G and asking complex questions.
Right.
It just shows you how fucking dumb you are, man.
Listen, it was more about what they wanted to say through the question. A lot of those questions are just rhetorical. There's a guy in the building tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, Alvarez, what do you think? And he's, to say that two things. Number one, we really never even heard from Triple G. You need an interpreter to hear from this guy, especially if you're going to ask him a question like, talk about the Abel Sanchez thing, or what do you think What do you think about this fight tonight? The answer you're going to get from him in English is going to be very, very choppy. Like if I were to answer in Spanish, it would be this basic ass, choppy type of statement, when I might have a hell of a lot to say about the fight.
You know what, fellas?
Two, that he signed this deal with DAZN. I think a lot of it was DAZN's, not advice, but maybe requirement, or they're a multinational platform, right? So rather than have this guy struggle with like choppy little English half sentences, let's get a translator. Let's see what this guy's actually got to say. I have no problem with it. I think it's long overdue. We never heard from them.
Yeah. Johnny, go ahead. Let me just get into this after you're done.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I just jumped back on. I was doing something, but I just come back to Andy here, precise, going, you know how fucking stupid you are. And he said, no, Lair, for all these people who say, oh, and Triple G's actually intelligent. I've heard him never speak like this before, and this, that, and the third. Well, why don't you take your bitch ass over to Kazakhstan and learn that fucking language? Then you could tell me how dumb Triple G is, you stupid bastard.
Yeah, Max Kellerman he would never go to Kazakhstan. They spit on fucking little pussies like him. Please.
Hold on.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna go somewhere with that. All right, Gonzalo, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to share my opinion. Thank you.
No kidding.
I just think, as far as the contract, his money is secure, right? So he doesn't have to go out there and promote himself into something that he's really not, like a cartoon character, as Precise was alluding to. And I think, that he also mentioned in a comment for Abel Sanchez not to call him son. So yes, he is defending himself, and he's representing himself as a true Golovkin. So I guess I guess he's not Mexican style no more, so he would be what? Blaxican style?
No,
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Kazakhstan.
Okay.
Anyway, I've heard
Thunder, yeah.
officials say this before. Something that I just want to add it quick. I know you
Yeah.
want to get off this, but officials said this to me before, said this to us on the panel before, that when Triple G speaks in his native tongue, and he also speaks German as well, when he speaks in his language that he's comfortable, he's very articulate, and he's actually kind of mean in a way. In other words, he gives like honest opinions. He's able to express himself, and that totally makes sense for this reason. Look, I was born and lived in Puerto Rico till I was 13 years old. So obviously, I came to America when I was 13. So I learned the slangs and stuff like that here. When I went back to Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, which kind of speak the same kind of slang almost, right? There were certain things that the guys, you know, we would talk and have a good time, and they would say some shit, and it took me a while to catch on, okay? And they would get a laugh out of my response because I didn't catch on to what they were saying. And look, I'm a Spanish speaker. I speak Spanish fluently. I can write Spanish. I can read everything. That's my first language that I learned. So even a person like me, even if I stayed in Puerto Rico and to now, I would have problems like in Ecuador, let's just say, all right? They, like one of them would start speaking kind of slick with their slang. I would pick up on it quickly, but maybe not right there. So imagine with Triple G.
Yeah, man.
Speaking a language that he has no idea what the hell he's trying to say. And these people are like, you see how he answered that? He doesn't know what you're saying, you dummy. He's like, he's trying to grasp it as fast as you're delivering it. And meanwhile, this is a foreign language to him. And so it's just dumb to say, like, wow, I didn't realize Triple G was smart. You know how insulting is that? Why? Because he doesn't speak English fluently?
Yeah, true, recognize. Plus, the way he answers in his native language is that because we were reading some newspaper we found on the internet some of his interviews in a Russian language, and when they ask him a question, it's not the same thing as he does with Cax Kellerman in the ring after the fight. He takes his time to give you a well thought answer, and he likes to talk a bit about it. He gives you a precise answer, and as you said, for example, he was talking shit about Ward, but he when he was talking about Andre Ward, he was really explaining how and why exactly Andre Ward was lying, and also he was insulting Carl Froch, as I told you the other time. He was saying shit something like, "Oh, that guy, his wife doesn't let him fight me," or whatever.
You know what, man? I wanted to move on from the Golovkin thing. I forgot. I wanted to get into Charlo, but I guess I'll just say this. I was rewatching Charlo versus Kovarov. Don't put Charlo anywhere near Golovkin, Canelo, or even Daniel Jacobs. Those three guys are a level above the guy. No feints, no creativity with his punches. The only reason he caught up to Kovarov was because Kovarov was training for an 8-rounder and ended up at the last minute fighting Charlo. So I don't forget about Charlo. He needs to fight. You know what? Andrade is stepping up against Zulensky, and he at least got that official win over Kolke. Charlo hasn't done anything to really warrant a fight against either of these guys. So that's just my final note on a Charlo fight against Canelo.
Listen, BDA, I said this the last show we brought this shit up. Charlo looked like dog
Sorry,
shit.
I had to drop off.
Charlo looked like dog shit against a 40-year-old Matt Korobov who
Right.
took the fucking fight on 4 days' notice. And he fucking...
Can I add something real quick?
He's in pretty good shape. He's noticed. God damn.
Well, hold on. Apology.
Yeah,
Johnny was
but-
talking, man.
Yeah, he looked, like Johnny said, he looked horrible. Like, I was rewatching the fight, he barely won 4 rounds. Like, he was predictable, he was falling in, his punches were like telegraphed, he was slapping. Korobov was just schooling him, man.
Yeah.
Like, so Charlo needs to get that fight back,
I'm gonna
and
call-
then
I'm gonna
maybe we
call-
can talk.
call Charlo fucking fettuccine head from now on. He looks like a half-eaten Snickers bar with that fucking haircut.
Now, there's no need for that type of language, first of all, that type of insult. I mean, we try to keep it respectful here at BDA. We don't try to make fun of people's appearance. But I will say this.
Isn't he talking the truth?
Was
yeah,
that?
BDA, but I'm saying why not? Why not take the fight? Because after he beats the contender, given that he does that, the contender 5 winner, he's going to have to, get a harder fight, a real fight. It can't just be always these soft touches because he's already, 29, 30, going on 30?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if people are clamoring for it, then they think that he can beat one of these guys, well, let him have at it.
You're saying the fight.
Yeah, but Gonzalo. Go ahead.
The big 3 at middleweight, you mean? Like the 3 that we've been talking about?
Yeah. After he beats the contender 5 winner, given he does that, he can't keep getting soft touches.
Well,
so he's going to have to get into a real fight.
But I didn't say he should. I didn't say he should jump in against one of the top 3. What I'm saying is he needs to fight somebody. At least fight a guy like, I don't know, Sulensky, which he was supposed to fight at one point. They were talking about putting him in there against Sulensky. They pulled out at the last minute. But they need to put him up against a guy like that, of that level. Because you saw what happened against Kolarov.
Yeah, but Gonzalo, is he good enough? Like, does he believe it? He doesn't. That's why he's fighting these bombs. He doesn't believe himself.
That's true. That's true.
Can I say? Let me say one more thing about Charlo.
Okay.
He's in his prime years. He still hasn't fought another top 10 160 pounder. So fuck throwing him in there with Canelo. Fuck throwing him in there with Golovkin. First, he's got to prove to me that he can even hang with a Derevyanchenko or a Lemieux or a Solecki or something on that level before we're talking about Triple G and Canelo. Mm-hmm. And this cocksucker's a chump. That's what it comes down to. He's a
language,
fucking
please.
Chump. Oh, sorry, BDA. But he's a fucking chump. And
Yeah, but I agree with you. But if they keep saying that these guys are ducking Charlo, well, might as well just have him have at it. That's the only reason why I would make a case for that. Not that he deserves it, but they keep bringing it up all the time that Golovkin and Canelo are avoiding Charlo. Well, fuck it. If he's gonna step up,
just because a few channels say that doesn't mean it's reality.
It
has nothing to do with what's really going on. The truth is that Charlo's being managed in a certain way where he can only fight certain fights.
Yeah.
If he's gonna fight the bigger names like Golovkin and Canelo anytime soon, he's got to be the negative B side. And that's it. He calls no shots. He has no weight. He has to concede to everything. Okay, and maybe, just maybe, they're not comfortable. The Al Haymans of the world, they're not comfortable putting a guy like that they think they might have a future for in the long run. They don't want to, like. In other words, look, I can only come with street terminologies. Just shooting a fair one. They say, look, I got my son here versus your son. If I'm really scared for my son that he's gonna get his ass whipped, I might not let my son fight that kid.
Yeah,
that's it. That's just it. I might not let him. My son might be like, "Come on, daddy, I got him. Come on, daddy, just let me go. Let me at him." Right? But deep down inside, I know this kid might kick my son's ass really bad.
Great analogy.
I think Bucho said it very well. That if it's not, let's just whoever they have over there under Heyman in the 160 in middleweights, maybe not to their best guy matching them up, but you expect to see them start incrementally stepping these guys up, is what Bucho said. Yes, it's just hard to do that when you get a last-minute replacement in Korobov that's in there landing every fucking lead left hand that he's throwing all night. When we were watching it the other show, something reminded me of Wilder when you watch Charlo fight, man. Just that lumbering, like that staggering around, that lumbering, and he's just like,
man.
He just got his right hand cocked back like he's got a fucking knife in it, like he's trying.
He's real robotic, like Wilder, Pete.
I mean, he's just waiting. I mean, I'm not saying exactly like Wilder. They're different weight classes, different frames, obviously. But man,
and by the way, I told you to please watch the language.
Racist.
Yeah, he said
racist and language. Goddamn.
Yeah, well, you said retarded cocksucker motherfucker. I said, come on, I told you to watch the language.
Fucking retarded.
He also said Wilder. That's a cuss word.
You also said
that was can't say Wilder. That's actually insensitive.
The plantation owner.
You also said robots.
But you know what,
you
Pete,
guys.
That's an insult.
Go ahead,
That's an
BDA.
insult to. That's an insult to Charles. Just real quick, that's an insult to Charles to say that he fights like Wilder. I mean, goddamn, that's a.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I
a.
meant.
All I'm saying is Al Haim is a plantation owner, and these dudes need to get off the plantation. You know what I'm saying? That ball and chains wearing them down.
Okay, come on. You know what? We're moving on from this. We got to get to. We got to get to Beterbiev against.
Give Wilder and Charlo a translator too. I mean, you know, we haven't
Oh,
heard
come
much-
on, come on.
Ah, come on.
Oh, that's racist.
BDA, can I just say something about my Ecuadorian brother Jack Colque? Because you guys are all wrong, man.
All right.
First of all, like, I don't think any of you guys know this, but the man is a former amateur world champion. All right. Now, I'm not saying he's a great professional fighter at all, but there is a reason why all these guys get in the ring with this dude and they struggle. The dude he's not a bum, man. I'm not saying he's great, but he's not a bum. Thank you.
I never
That's all
said
wanted to
that.
say.
I never
Not at
said.
all,
I gave him his
not at
credit
all.
the other day. I gave him credit the other day because I'm not saying that they're struggling because he against the guy because they suck. I'm saying because he's good. I've said it before.
Viva Ecuador!
All right.
Segundo Mercado.
You know,
That's the
precise.
guy that-
Your brain. I think your brain got a little bit rattled from debating all those fucking nut jobs over
Goddamn
there.
right.
Yeah. Don't. You know, you stare into the abyss too long. All of a sudden, the abyss looks back to you. Or I forget how that quote goes. Listen.
Precise, you ever tell one of them go fuck themselves?
Just straight up. Yeah, straight up. Tell them to go fuck themselves.
Let's move on, BDA. Come on.
Yes, all right. Let's get to Beterbiev, who moved up to 14-0 with 14 knockouts, great glossy record by beating the tough Kalajdzic, I believe that's how you say his name.
Kalashnik.
Kalajdzic. And by the way,
Kalajdzic.
just to set up the stage for
Kalajdzic.
everybody,
Let him officially say it.
just to set,
Kalajdzic.
Jeez.
You got it?
I got it. Kalajdzic.
No, Kalajdzic.
Who cares, man? He's some fucking
Kalajdzic.
Eastern European Euro
Yeah,
trash. No
yeah.
offense.
Just
No
how it's
offense.
spelled, bro. It's just how it's spelled. Kalajdzic.
Just
Kalajdzic.
how it's spelled.
Exactly.
Focker.
All right, well, listen, guys, real quick. So Kalajdzic, just to set up the stage, he gave Marcus Brown a very tough fight, and what I'm hearing from some of you is that you actually think he beat Marcus Brown. So, what do you guys think about Beterbiev
Yes.
taking this guy out in four or five rounds? What do you think?
Impressive.
I just got done watching the whole card, BDA.
I haven't
say
seen-
this. Looks like he was. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like in the first round, he looked a little bit sluggish, but when he started landing, it looked like it was pretty much over for him. The third round, man, was the telling round. He drops him in the third round. There was some confusion with the referee at one point, and then he kept him hurt, wobbly for the fourth round, and then the fifth round looks like a quick stoppage. But if you just paid attention, he was done. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah, I just got done watching the card, like I say. But Turbiev's a good fighter, man. He's just got to fight more often. And like I say, Bivol's on the zone, but Top Rank's got Kovalev, Beterbiev, and Vazdik, so they should set up those fights sometime shortly. And they got Zerto Ramirez, too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Like
real quickly, one more point I wanted to say is I think Kovalev would beat him. They were
I was
talking
gonna-
about,
Yes, go ahead, please. Yes, about that.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that. That's it. I think that he's pretty predictable, but when when he hits you, bro, he hurts you. I mean, he's got some accuracy. I'm not gonna say that he's really good at what he does, and a lot of that has to do with power. He's pretty accurate. He can't set punches up, but it's pretty much 1-2, 1-2. And I just feel I want to see the fight happen. Don't get me wrong, but I feel that Kovalev could still beat him on points.
You know what? That's a very good point because I was watching this fight. His head stays on the same axis. That's how this guy caught him with a good left hook. Even when he had the guy hurt, the other guy managed to hit Beterbiev with a nice flush left hook. He leaves his head on the same axis, but like you said, it's just that he's so strong. He just barges through people and knocks him out. It's time to put him in there against another guy. Put him in there against, because he's already 30 something, I believe. Put him in there against Bivol. Put him in there against Vazdik. How old is he?
He's 34 years old or 35. 34, I think.
34, yeah.
No. They got to put him in there against somebody quick, because don't worry about Fernando Vargas. Him, he's ready now. He's 30 something. The future is getting shorter for him. Put him in there. But like you said, recognize. I think based on the opposition he's been fighting nowadays, I think Kovalev still has a good. Provided Kovalev doesn't train on vodka and gin again like he did against Ward the second fight. Because Kovalev does look a little bit, I don't know what you guys think, but he does look a little bit shaky nowadays.
Yes, it's true.
Been? I mean, where is this guy? What is he got a fight coming up or what? He's kind of been out in the wind a little bit since that last the kid
Kovalev,
the Colombian kid he just fought.
Alvarez.
Well, he's Pete. He had court coming up for that when he allegedly hit some broad or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he was supposed to go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying that he was supposed to wait to see if there's going to be a fight against Yardi or what. And he's also saying he wants to fight Beterbiev. I'm talking about Kovalev, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's history between those guys, Kovalev and Beterbiev. Kovalev was always ignored as an amateur. Beterbiev was the darling of the Russian amateur, or I don't know what they call it over there, the Russian Amateur Federation. So there's some bad blood. That would be an interesting fight to make. But like again, Kovalev, he's got his fight in court. Who knows if he's gonna make it out of that one? He could give me a call, and I can connect him to Rafael Shapiro. But whether he makes it out of court or not, he does need to step into the ring because he's 35, right? 36, maybe even. And
you're talking about Kovalev, right? He's 30. I'm gonna
35.
Say 35, 36.
Yeah, see, he needs to stay active, man. Especially since he's like I said, there's something about his chin now. It seems like he's lost a little bit of the destroyer luster that he had before. I don't know. I could be wrong. That's just the way I see it. What do you guys think?
Alcohol could do that to you.
Man. He looks like
too long
overnight. Like these guys that booze real hard, man. They kind of like get old overnight, man. They just weather, like their face got these pock marks starting to come in on his cheeks,
And did you see the sunken like fucking shoulders? Like that's another ugly sign of it too, man.
Yeah. That was leading. That's I noticed that was going into the first fight with. Here I go again. This Colombian kid, whatever his name is.
Alvarez.
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 Alvarez. He just looked like he just hopefully they get him back in the game because a court case you lawyer up and let the attorney take care of it. You let him represent you. You just fucking go live your life. You gotta go on about your business, and his business is boxing, should be. But who's even training him now?
Buddy McGirt.
Yeah, Buddy McGirt.
Yeah, Buddy McGirt.
Yeah, that's a good relationship, man. I think these Eastern European fighters know how to. I think maybe it takes a little bit of experience. They know how to pick like trainers that mesh well with them. Yeah.
That's the thing about Kovalev is, despite the fact that I think he's a little bit more chinny now and a bit of a wino, with the drunkenness and all that, I still think anybody that steps in there in the ring against him, they have to watch out for that fucking jab of his, which comes out like a right hand. They got to watch out for his control of distance, the power, the fact that he seems to be improved. He seems to have improved his stamina based on the last fight against Alvarez. So I don't know. Do you guys still think he's the best light heavyweight in the world, or would that honor go to Voz? Yeah,
he has to be. I mean, I would pick some people over him, perhaps, but you got to give him on paper. You got to give him the credit, I think.
Yeah, you gotta give it to Kovalev as of right now until these matchups start getting made, just based on resume and who he's been in there with, etc., so forth. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as far as chins go, like Beterbiev's been put down before too, so he doesn't necessarily have an iron chin either.
Good point. Yeah, and he keeps his head.
I was gonna say that yard fight get finalized, BDA.
I don't know, but even then, like that's the thing. People are bringing up on the message boards. They're bringing up Yard's name. What has he done other than, what? I don't even think Yard has impressed me in his actual fights. He's impressed me more when he's doing the pad work with his trainer. And by the way, his trainer has a gut, and he insists on taking his shirt off during the press workouts when he's only the pads. And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you? What?
No, I was
laughing.
No, I was just gonna say, Yard's just been fucking stroking himself while everybody's waiting for the fight to get announced. He's got a new nickname too. It's called Mystical.
You kidding me, right?
What?
Are you kidding me about that?
About what?
Mystical about the nickname.
Yeah, watch yourself. Yeah, that's Anthony Yard.
Oh, Jesus, Johnny boy, your fucking jokes are going over my head today. I'm sorry, man, but I'm.
Hey, I told you to get out of the bordella by midnight. BDA. What the
Listen,
fuck's
I'm
the
not
matter
as
with you?
drunk. I'm not as drunk as or drunk, hungover as Stu was, because I think he stayed up all night. But the point is this, man. The point is this: Anthony Yard, light heavyweight, is the deepest division in boxing, and this guy has done fuck all. I don't even know what. That just goes to show you. That just goes to show you. There's still people out there that buy the hype. You say a guy's name enough times, you put him on BT Sports, you do documentaries on him, little fucking YouTube soundbites and everything, and all of a sudden, people start talking about this guy as if he's an actual contender. Fight somebody in the top 10, be somebody in the top 20, and then we'll start talking about you. Other than that, man, I don't know what else to say about Anthony Yard.
But if he's a man, though, make it happen. Sometimes maybe it'll be a light touch for Kovalev. Who knows? Fucking make it
Yeah,
happen.
and
Let's
he might
start a
just prove to be
precedent.
better. Also, Carneval,
Yeah,
he might also prove.
She
Yeah.
might catch him, definitely. And the thing with that is, let's start a precedent here. Let's have some of these British guys, Americans, whatever, they want to go to Russia. Let's start getting some fights in Russia too. Make shit more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a prospect trying to jump up to or a contender trying to jump up for a shot, you might think it's too early and everything, but if you got a guy like Kovalev, where it's kind of a question mark fight to fight, I mean, he's getting fucking sparked out one fight, and the next fight he's kicking that Colombian kid, kicking his ass, and then he's kind of on and off with the trainer. Right now, is probably the time to go for it if you're going to go for it. I don't see him as like, clearly as unbeatable as he was, let's say 2, 3, 4 years ago before the award fights.
Well,
what options does he have, right? Bevo?
Yeah, right.
Roystick? You know what I mean? He's probably thinking this is the weakest link right now.
That's true.
There'll be fighters that don't merit the fight, but will bust onto the scene, like Manny Pacquiao back in the day. Nobody really knew him. Every now and then, I guess you get a case for that to happen. You get a situation like that where a fighter, he's not rated so high, but it's different now because of the media, right? The YouTube. People promote themselves differently, and you kind of know more about them. Whereas to like somebody like 10 years ago was more obscure. I don't know.
I mean, Pacquiao's running through guys that were pretty established. I mean, just running through them like a fucking buzzsaw up the weights. When he got into the weight classes, he was going.
Yeah, but no. But that Leduaba fight, people didn't even know how to pronounce his name, and he had already 2 losses in the Philippines. But he was a good fighter, a great fighter. That we came to find that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking thank God. Yeah, thank God, man. Let me ask y'all a question real quick. What? Sorry, BDA, if you don't want to talk about this, then you can move it on. But the broadcast with the zone. You were mentioning earlier that people were having, I guess, problems with just the production of it with the commentators.
Right.
And let's say Captain Hook. Let's say he's always been like I don't give a fuck what the commentators are saying. I don't really one way or the other if it's Lampley, CompuBox, I don't listen to these guys really necessarily. The Showtime guys, I know.
They're all biased.
Gets a little crazy with the fucking head like a Pez dispenser and South. He's got that DJ voice, that cheesy voice,
Oh yeah.
I don't care. It's not completely out of left field, I don't have a problem with it, but I must say that crew for DAZN, they're like, there's nobody calling the fucking fight. I don't know if you noticed that.
Explain. What do you mean by
There's
that?
nobody actually calling the action, like an announcer, a neutral announcer, just giving you like a play-by-play. It's like they're all just chit-chatting with each other.
That's a good point. They got Sergio Mora, they got Brian Kenny, and then they have the Chris Mannix. Actually, no, I think Chris Mannix just takes care of the scorecards. But it's true, they're not really talking about a Jim Lampley who says, well, he's doing this guy's doing that, and then Roy Jones jumps in or Amount Stewart. These guys, it seems a little hectic. Kind of like this hangout.
The perfect trio for me announcing was Manny Stewart, Larry Merchant, and Lampley. That was my perfect trio. All right.
Mm-hmm.
As far
Well,
as I'm concerned.
I'll bump you up with prime Roy Jones in the 90s because he wasn't biased too much back then. He would actually. I remember when Deloya was fighting Whitaker, and Lampley was riding Deloya's dick, and it was actually Merchant and Roy Jones who were keeping him honest. Now you fast forward 20 something years, and they're all in it now. You know, they're all dick riding the A side or the guy that they're biased towards, and it's a shame, man. But yeah, but Emmanuel Stewart was a decent. Even that he started to get bad too. He started to get a little bit too
Well, that's
egomaniacal.
just the age catching up with them, PD. I mean, they're 70 something. You
Nah,
know what
but
I'm
he was a
saying?
little bit egomaniacal. Like he would do this, Emmanuel Stewart. He would call the fight in the first 3 rounds. He would say like, "Well, this is at this point he just looks too strong for this guy." Blah blah blah. And then by the 8th round, the other guy starts getting the upper hand, and he goes, "This is exactly what I predicted." It's like, no, you didn't, Emmanuel. Just stop fucking. He was a Hall of Fame trainer, so I think he had to like keep fronting. Keeping up the appearance that he was always in control and always aware of everything that was going on. Because his paycheck is dependent upon whether he's how good of an analyst he is, because he's a trainer. But like I said in another podcast, there's no good announcers anymore. All the teams, even the Showtime, which I like now, Paulie Malignaggi is getting worse. Like Pete said, that Mauro Ranallo with the radio voice. Hey, you want to win 2 tickets to Pearl Jam? It's like, shut up! You're not doing radio, man.
Yeah,
But at
yeah.
least they're keeping. I mean, this might be too like fucking technical. I'm not like a goddamn ABC producer or nothing like that. But if you really look at it, a couple of guys in the chat, by the way, on point with Steve Albert, and Freddie Pachenko. Fucking awesome. And don't forget about Big George in there, because he used to correct Merchant's ass too. But if you really look at it, right, whether in any sport, right, baseball or football, boxing, step one, if you have a budget for a production, right, if you have to hire the first person you hire, if you had to have one, it would be you have to have an announcer who's calling the fight or the game without any kind of bias or any kind of like, their excitement level can go up and down with the action, but they should be calling it like it's a radio broadcast. You shouldn't even have
play-by-play guy. That's what you're talking about.
Play-by-play as an announcer.
I think.
Speaking of comment,
Go ahead, apology. Go ahead,
apology.
I'm saying a play-by-play and an announcer is the same thing. They're announcing the action without regard to who they favor and who said what. Then you can get an analyst in there, who's got like professional. That's a Manuel Stewart or a like a Foreman or Roy Jones. And then you can have like a color commentator who just fills in the lulls. There's not many lulls in boxing, but they just fill in the lull with like whatever they're seeing or whatever they're, whatever they're perceiving in the fight, in or out of the ring, or from whatever they want to say. That's fine. But
right,
the zone's doesn't seem to be having, and that ESPN card too. They got 5 guys, 3 of them are up in the desk, and 2 of them are down at ringside. They got a bunch of color commentary. These guys are all giving their opinions about what's going on outside the ring, and they're shocked by the scorecards. Like Sergio Moore seemed to be like completely blown away. Not Moore. Who's Moore's partner last night on that broadcast?
It was all
Brian Kenny.
Kenny seemed to be like fucking flabbergasted with an 8-4 or 7-5 scorecard. Like he was totally fucking like blown away. They got Moore doing the unofficial scoring. It's like they got a bunch of color guys in there, but no one's actually calling the fucking action.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
The show. Well, look, man, I don't mind Mark Kriegel too bad on ESPN. I don't mind him. I think Andre Ward's a fucking chump, but I don't think he's too bad of a commentator. Same thing with Paulie. He's a little fucking Wonder Bread wop, but he fucking I think Paulie's a little fucking chump too, but he's not too bad of a commentator. I like Bernstein. Mauro Ranallo drives me fucking ape shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that dude's a fucking bro. Every time an exchange gets landed in a fight, Mauro Ranallo screams and acts like it's fucking Gotti Ward over here. He fucking every time one little exchange happens, Ranallo comes in his pants. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up, will you?
Well, he's
He
bipolar.
catches me out of
Speaking of bad commentators,
Go ahead.
speaking of bad commentators, do you guys watch the Sky broadcast? Because Carl Froch, oh my God, they need to
Yeah.
fire him right now.
I wanted
It
to
was
ask.
horrible.
I wanted to ask you that before he left. Seriously, when you guys are watching the zone card from last night, you guys have a different commentary overlay in the fight than we do here.
Yeah, it's Sky. So it was Carl Froch and Adam Smith, I think, and then there was a third guy as well. I forgot his name.
So the zone, so UK, is there even a zone in the UK? I mean, is there even a?
No, it's Sky. It's Sky.
Okay.
And Brooks, Jim Watts retired.
And by the way, there was another guy, I can't see his name anymore on the chat, but there was another guy that said, I'll get to his name later, but he said George Foreman sucked. 1-2 Kid said that George Foreman sucked. I agree. He said a lot of dumb shit, but guess what? That dumb shit nullified the biasness. He nullified the biasness the bias actually that Jim Lampley or somebody else would bring, because he would say things that were so mind-boggling that didn't make any sense that it would actually stop them in their tracks. But the problem with modern broadcasting is there's two problems. Number one, especially like with ESPN in other sports, I don't watch other sports, but I see every once in a while what people complain about. And everybody's complaining that they hire these women that don't even watch the sport. Like, for example, they'll hire a woman for like a basketball game or something. They put her on the floor. She doesn't know shit about basketball. The only thing she might know about the basketball players is that she sucks their dick or something. They don't know, but it's diversity hires. Number two, the other problem is they hire young people. Because they're always, you got to remember, these executives, they're always obsessed with keeping up with the youth, right? The demographic. Oh, we got to attract more young people. We got to attract more young people. They're like priests or something. So when they do is they'll hire, that's why they hired Max Kellerman back in on ESPN. They actually kicked out the bald guy that looks like an egg. I forget his name. They kicked him out because he wasn't appealing to the youth.
Larry Merchant?
No, I'm sorry. Al Bernstein. They replaced Al Bernstein. They took out Al Bernstein from ESPN. Yeah, that was back in the 90s. And they put Max Kellerman.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, sure.
And they put Kellerman in because he was the loud, screaming guy, like what I'm doing now. And he would actually, because they thought he was going to attract the younger people. And that's what they do all the time. That's why they're never going to have an older fighder during the commentary. They're always going to take a guy that's in his 30s.
Oh,
40s.
You know, he's connected, Kellerman.
We just got to
I'll leave it at that. He's
from square one, though, you know. Like, if it was just Kellerman there, you have to have. I know you don't watch any other sports, but even in the playoffs, BDA, like, you know, like even like a fucking Super Bowl, you don't watch like a. I mean,
I watch all sports, Pete.
Well, I'm saying I can't. You know, time is time. You know, you got a bunch of responsibilities. But
of course.
like the MLB, when it comes down to the series, to the division championship series and the World Series, I'm gonna watch it. I mean, shit.
Yeah, me too.
But you got a guy like Joe Buck calling the action. You don't even know it's there. You know, you don't know it's there, but he's just down the middle calling the action. And then you got a guy with him, McCarver, whoever's with him, giving his own take on things. He might favor one team or the other. He might let it be known, he might not. But shit, before you get, you know, 3 guys up in the desk up here, and then you got 2 guys down here, you got 5 separate guys. How about one guy that can call the action? We can go from there.
Yeah, that's how you need to do it. You need that one person that knows what they're talking about, knows how to call it, because then you got all these people that don't know what they're doing. Look at yesterday. Look at yesterday in terms of like these people that were doing the interviews. I don't even know who they were. It was like this lesbian girl that looks like she could be a porn star at the same time. Interviewing. She was interviewing. What's his name? Canelo after the fight. It's like, who are you? And it sounds ridiculous too. It's like, so Canelo, you know, like looking him up and down, like she's ready to give him a blowjob. I mean, who is this appealing to? Like, if I want to watch porn, I watch porn, right? Or something close to it. I don't want to watch this nonsense. I want somebody to ask him some real questions, or boxing questions. You know, even if you're not going to ask him some real questions that make him feel uncomfortable, it's like, you know, who you plan to fight next, or how did you win today? You know, what was the game plan? This bitch didn't know what the hell she was doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think when you go back and look at it, the ones that you remember are the ones that like just these are color guys now, color guys and analysts and stuff. You know, like the Merchant with the fucking questions. You don't give a fuck what you answer or if you're offended. You just fucking ask it. why did you look like shit tonight? Why do you think, he takes his sweet time? And Foreman, I remember Big George in that Trinidad Vargas fight. When he got Vargas got hit low, so he took his time. I guess Kathy Duva's on the ring.
Oh yeah.
telling him, signaling him, take your 5 minutes. Take your 5 minutes. Don't like Amir Khan out of this shit, and don't get brave. Just take your time. And George Foreman couldn't believe that a woman was like involved. Like, can you believe that a woman giving instructions like that?
Well,
And Jim Blampley, Jim Lampley, the White Knight, he jumped in right away, and he's like, "Well, no, she's very competent. She knows her boxing, and blah blah blah." It's like, come on, Jim.
But a woman, Foreman just was so I don't say innocent, but he was like a country a
bumpkin, country
You
bumpkin.
see Trinidad on the balls of his feet like that? He's like a track star, ready to take off.
All right, now Pete, you're getting a little bit too. You kept referring to the commentators as color commentators. Now you're talking from like a southern, what's his name? Those old novels from the 1800s. Come on, you gotta tone down the whole race.
I'd rather have the word. Let me tell you something, guy. Calling the action on that fucking zone card than any of.
Tom Sawyer over here.
Let me tell you something. Canelo's looking very sharp tonight. Ooh,
let me tell you something. I thought that color boy was gonna do something, but Canelo's on point.
Let's not bring that.
That little sneaky white Mexican. He's not
let's
bad.
not bring him up again. Let's not bring him up.
Let me tell you something. I just told you I've been waiting 89 years for this fight. Okay, I told you that little color boy might have a chance at him. But
let's not give him more attention, man. Let's not give him more attention.
What?
Listen, the point is this, man.
He's great.
No, he's not great. We covered everything. Stop saying that we're gonna. We recognize. We covered everything, guys. We covered all the bases, all the angles, I believe, regarding the Canelo Jacobs fight. I also want to say, Stu, I know you're listening. Don't quit during the podcast, man. That's just something that's not done. That's like Amir Khan, stepping over to Virgil Hunter and saying, "Oh, you want me to go? Fine, I'll go." You got to stay in here. You got to weather the storm. You got to take the punches. That's what we do over here at BDA Boxing. You take some punches, you give some back. That's what you do. Come on, you know that. You're a veteran of the BDA arena. Come on.
Steelies, I'm going to bring back Hamed.
No. Jeez, please.
He didn't say he was like not going to ever do it. He just was checked out of this one, right? No,
yeah, he just couldn't. He didn't like the way the conversation was going. But come on, I mean, are we gonna leave every time we don't like a conversation? You can stop talking if you want, and then when we get back to something else. But I mean, just to drop off and say to the people in the chat room, "Fuck it, I'm out of here." I mean, I don't know. I don't like that. I didn't expect that from Stu. That's all I'll say.
Stu, we're disappointed in you. You let us down, you fuck.
Well, I didn't say that, but at least,
Stu, I'm just kidding.
You know what? At least he wasn't swearing like a bunch of sailors, like all of you guys here. I mean, it's a Sunday. It's Sunday.
Come on, now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You guys, everybody broke the rules.
No, I didn't curse.
You did a little bit.
I didn't curse.
No, you did a little bit.
I didn't curse.
You cursed a little
No,
bit.
no. I didn't curse. Listen, man. Drinks on me, guys. Drinks on me, guys.
No. You don't have to. Okay.
BDA?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I can't help but curse once in a while. I try to control myself. But, it's that when I come back from church in the morning, I just got to wash church down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, how about you do it a little better?
Yo, I haven't been in church in a while, man.
Well, no.
In fact, I'm going to church.
I'm surprised you haven't been. The guy who decks women on the streets and who shoots dogs and who has a large pornography collection.
You're going to the altar of Jackson Heights?
No, where I live at, there's this nice little small church, right? It's been there for like, I don't even know, man. Maybe since like the early 1900s, right? It's a little church. Maybe it could fit like 20 people at a time. And when sometimes I go in there, man, I feel guilty as fuck. I'm like, oh my Lord. I don't know what it is. Every time I go in there, I try to block it out, BDA. I try to. But then like these stupid negative thoughts just start coming, like, you don't belong here. It's like the devil talking to me, like, you don't belong here. Go.
Get out of here. Get out of my house. Get out of my house.
No, not get out of my house. Get out of this house. Come to my house.
Just put the money. Just put the money in the basket and don't worry about it. Just
Yeah, that's what I'm. Pete, I'm gonna start just doing that. I'm just gonna be like, look, I tell my wife this all the time. Like, listen, sweetie, I know this is your thing, but I can't do it. I'm gonna go.
Why you do this to me, Demi? Why you do this to me?
I'm
like
gonna
the Exorcist in there.
BDA give a sermon. That's probably like the. You ever seen The Apostle with Robert Duvall and The Apostle? You ever seen that movie that he made?
No.
Robert? No, I don't think I've seen it.
Never.
You know who Robert Duvall is. Everybody does, right?
I know who Robert Duvall is. Yeah.
Tom Hagen, my lawyer.
Yeah, Hagen, right? Hagen. With his So he made a movie called The Apostle. About like he's a preacher. Let's just put it like that. Like
I bet I saw it.
Evangelical preacher on the run from the law. It's a good movie though. Good flick.
All right.
That's probably like BDA in church.
I'll watch it, and if I find some good quotes, you bet your ass it's going into the soundboard, which I don't play, by the way.
Every time BDA starts doing his quotes for the Bible, I feel like he's talking to me. Even though I know he's talking to an audience.
That's because you're
like deep down inside, he's saying, "This is for you, Recognize," because I know you're evil deep down.
I like how Recognize just doesn't want to get off his ass and go to church, and he tries to tell everybody that's because he hears voices and he feels guilty. Shut up.
I'm telling you, man.
You're an egomaniac.
I swear to God, I hear voices. I'm like, you don't belong in here. Get out. Look at all these smiley faces. They never did anything wrong. Get out of here.
I'm gonna use that when I get out of church from now on. Like I don't feel. I feel guilty. I don't deserve to be here. I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna sleep in.
Well, you guys should really think about that. You should meditate on why you feel so guilty, and you should ask our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for forgiveness. That's all I'm going to say. I can't do it for you. I cannot forgive you. Well, somebody's having a phone call. All right, listen, by the way, Magic Man in the chat room is asking us to talk about De La Hoya's offer to Spence. We already talked about that a little bit earlier in the show, Magic Man. So if you want to go back into like about the middle of the podcast, once it processes, you're going to be able to find our take on that one there. I want to give a shout out to everybody that showed up today in the hangout. We had a full house. Everybody was in here. Pete, Recognize, Official Boxing Scorecards, Stu, King Bucho, Johnny Boy, Gonzalo, Precise, Apology. Am I missing somebody? Hopefully not. I said Stu.
Peace, boys.
All right, see you, man. See you, Johnny Boy. Thanks for being on, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on and giving us your...
Later.
All right, take it easy. Thank you for being on. Take it easy. And also want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat room. Hold on a second. Even the people, there were a lot of people trolling tonight, but that's what's to be expected after a big fight. I want to give a shout out to Box, Shepherd of Sons, Roberto Misquiri. Misquiri or Misquiri? I don't know how you say that. Bay Area, California, Shepherd of Sons, Dolores, My Dolores, The Fight Scout, Red Glove Militant, Apology Man.
Dolores.
Bay Area, California, The Fight Scout, El Archiga, Funktopus, Canelo Give Me My Fight, Black Lomachenko, The Hand History Vault, Apology was in there as well, Gypsy Boxing Style, aka Boxing Style, Virtuoso, Triple JJ, Revolucion, Rod T. Davies, Mario G, 1-2 Kid, actually, I should say. You know what? This is too long, man. I next time I'm just gonna make up names and start reading the fake names. Azzy, Pop Tart Gone. Everybody,
I like when you read the names at the end.
Yeah, I'm tired, man. I'm fucking dead, man. My mind
I
is...
know you're fatigued. I know. Hey, but BD, I have a final question for you, just real quick, because you're the head pastor at this church. Let me just ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Do you ever consider doing like a post fight, if it was a big enough fight, like last night, for example, right? Obviously, everybody's got a bunch of opinions on the fight and where do we go from here and all this shit. I know these fucking fights go late, but you ever consider doing like a post-fight show, like right after the fight?
Yeah, the thing is, Saturdays is... I did a post-fight Charlo Kobrov, and Bucho did a post-fight Fury Wilder podcast one time, but it's just... Imagine if I'm tired now. Imagine at fucking midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning doing a podcast. It's a little too hectic. Know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know what's on your end as far as lining all this shit up to go to YouTube and I know it's more than just my stupid ass logging on and talking, getting my microphone out the echo, but I don't know. Some of these fights, like, I don't know. I bet you it'd probably go all fucking night. Yeah, those fights were earlier too. Well, Charlo fights. Those fights.
we did a podcast 2 or 3 times during the fights, but then it was a mess because we always had to keep an eye on the chat because people were always putting links to free links to the fights, and YouTube doesn't appreciate that, so it's a bit of a pain in the ass. And then there's people here watching and they're on a lag or delay, so some people are 20 seconds ahead, 30 seconds ahead. It was fun, but it's a pain in the ass, you know.
Listen, I don't want to hear your fucking problems. Just have a fight show.
Hey, you're my bartender. You're supposed to fucking hear my problems, right? That's right. No answer. All right. Listen.
That's all I had.
All right. I want to give a shout out to Official Scorecard Boxing too. I forgot about him because he left. But shout out to Official Scorecard Boxing. And also, Official, thank you for your donation via the super chat. Shout out to Official. Thanks again, everybody who joined us, everybody who contributed on the panel, the chat room. And we'll see you on the next one, folks. Take it easy.